Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And it's now episode 455. In this episode, we are going to react to the NBA trade deadline and give grades for all the major trades that went down, give our trade deadline winners and losers, and then give our prediction for the Super Bowl.
Why does it say coaching hires?
I'm dead.
You always find ways to nitpick the most meaningless things. It doesn't matter.
It does say coaching hires.
Yeah, it says prediction coaching hires.
Give John a break, man. Let's lock in. How you doing, Riv?
First off, wasn't
what's
Riv
no
supposed to
commas?
be here too? I was anticipating every single time we were going to record, I was going to see at least one picture of Riv.
Even if it's in the corner, something small.
I mean, I'm not mad. I got my goat.
maybe
Luka
or maybe
Doncic.
just right here.
Got my
right in
goat
the middle.
Jalen Hurts.
I was just trying to figure out why it was coaching hires up there. But my fault, John.
We'll get back to it, though.
John, you do an amazing job. This is not me picking on you, bro. I just asked a question.
The Black History Month tradition, we'll keep going next episode. Santos sent a new version of a graphic where he put 3 other black legends on the graphic. One of them was Beyonce.
Love that.
Respect that.
The other one, this is from no influence from myself, was Kendrick Lamar.
That's fair.
And the last one,
Do you want to be up there with Kendrick Lamar?
As long as I'm not next to him.
And the other one is Denzel Washington.
W.
Yeah.
Put me next to Denzel.
You are next to Denzel, but you're also next to Kendrick.
Riv,
I
so
love it.
how does it feel that second episode of Black History Month, they're already forgetting?
John.
Who's surprised?
I'm actually not at all surprised that John did it.
No, at least I'm happy that there are 3 black men represented.
2.5.
It's Black History Month. You got to respect Mahomes.
Sure.
That being said, 3 in a spicy white.
The big game is this Sunday, Chiefs versus Eagles, a rematch of the 2022 Super Bowl. And Prospects, they have a free square for this big game. Do you want to know what it is?
Talk to me. I hope it's a good free square because we've now noticed that free squares aren't free anymore because some players really don't get it.
Well, I think this is an actual free square because it's the greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes.
not pity, man.
He just needs 1 passing
That's just
yard
like Tom Brady to
and
me.
you win. If you guys want to use this free square this weekend on the big game, go to Prospects, use it, use code PAS and play $5 to get $50 if you want to have some fun on the big game, and it also helps support the podcast.
He's a spicy white.
He's so white.
He's a spicy white. He speaks like 5 languages.
But snow day. We had a stream this morning. It was dope.
Did you get off from school?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to call out. That is insanely huge.
I had the ref today. That got canceled. School got canceled. Had nothing to do.
Nice.
Yeah. First
that
like
for you.
real day with nothing to do, like outside the pod in a while. So I just laid down all day.
That's a win.
I wish I had some edibles. That's what I really wish I had.
You and these
Should've got
damn
some.
edibles.
No, I gotta
Dude,
get some.
Hashery delivers.
No.
Yes.
Don't you
tell
have
me
to have a minimum of $100 though?
Oh, I don't know.
That's
I just
a
saw
nut-ass
they
minimum.
deliver. I don't know. I'm not surprised though.
Hundreds ridiculous.
Maybe 30.
Bro, you can cop 5 packs of those edibles, you're there and you're set for months.
Yeah.
Honestly, honest with you, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks.
If they could deliver, that's kind of lit.
They
And
do
live
deliver,
right.
for sure.
I live right there. Yeah, no,
How many are you popping at a time? Just one?
it's 1 a day.
Okay.
It's right before I go to sleep.
That's calm.
I like to get a cool little, like, insane high and then go to sleep.
Cool little insane high.
One does that to you?
One just, like, if I'm laying there, one definitely is like, like,
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
chilling.
it.
Yeah,
like,
facts.
I'm dead high. Like, I can't get up. Then I go to sleep.
Yeah, now if I'm trying to tweak out a little, I'll do 3.
Okay.
Try to tweak. If
I
it's
did-
some common,
I
do
did
2.
That's
Two.
a lot. That means you're taking, it's 10 milligrams of pop, pretty
Yes.
much.
He's a nutcase.
Big
Do you
guy.
know who this guy is?
That's not a lot, though. 10 milligrams is not a lot.
No, 30 is.
No, 30 is a lot.
little scary.
30
I
is
took,
a lot.
I took
Thirty's
2
like
when I was
crazy.
outside. I was like, I have to go home.
The thing is, before all this got legalized and you just copping wherever, like you would get packages and be like 500 milligrams and it's one
capping.
nerd's rope, and I'd eat like half and I'd be fucked up.
I
Don't
eat
get
the
me
whole
wrong.
thing.
But that's why I feel like 30 is. I don't
No,
know.
yeah, there's some edible packs that, it's 50 milligrams of pop.
Yeah.
And you got to be really careful with those.
Yeah, I was in
Can't
this.
take too much.
I was at this party one time at a hotel party, and this girl gave me a bag of edible Doritos, and they were
they
like
good?
they were 500 mg. Ate the whole bag.
Do they
So,
taste good?
Wow.
They were all right.
That's a lot.
Yo, literally passed out. Like hospital,
500
like
milligrams.
ambulance had to come get me, bro. Like I was in the bed, like saying I can't breathe.
That's
bro.
dangerous.
I was dead, like tweaked out. Like I was in the bed spazzing the hell out. They had to call like
That's
hospital,
scary.
all that. Yeah, it was crazy. I've never seen that white girl again, by the way.
Good.
That hasn't happened to me that many times. It's been a few times, and they're not fond memories. But it's a different experience though, because sometimes like in the moment you feel very terrible, but then after the fact,
I'm chasing
this gonna sound like an addiction. But you're like, man, like
that shit lit.
that wasn't that bad actually in hindsight.
The dispensary, those don't move me. Like I know, like if I really tweak out, like if I want to take the whole pack and I took 10 just fucking around, I'd be like, it's dispensary.
It's still
you know what
crazy
I mean?
to think about, Joel, how our most viewed episode ever is the day after you got maybe the most lit you've ever gotten, and you said straight up, boys, I'm just gonna moderate the show. I can't debate today.
Oh shit! I thought we were talking about the DeJounte video.
I think
No,
the
you were
DeJounte one?
zonked on that show. No. you were geeked up on that show.
all. I
Yeah.
saw you.
No fact, but
We were pretty smacked.
the episode after the day after you got very lit, you said, boys, I got too high. I just gotta moderate the show. I'm gonna be on, but I can't debate today.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about that is that like
We had just hit 10K subs that day too.
Yeah, I could be feeling terrible like that, but then once we get on the show, like the rhythm just kicks in, and I'm not really tired anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's edibles. They're a slippery slope. I don't like edibles. I think what I'm trying to balance out right now is I'm trying to balance still being able to kind of moderate my usage, but I don't really like edibles because I don't like the high that it gives me.
I'm the opposite.
It gives a very weird high.
I like edible high more than smoking.
I'm definitely more of a smoker, but smoking is bad for you.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I like both.
But that's why I like even edibles more, because I'm like, it's a healthier way to.
Yeah, it's like
Sneaky.
you're not smoking.
Yeah, no, I like that's why I hate I don't hate it, but like I hate when we stream because then I'm taking an edible and I'm ready to go to the bed. Like I'm sitting there looking at my bed like, fuck, I really don't want to be here. I just want to lay down and sleep it off.
Yeah, then why don't you just wait until after the stream to do it?
Nah, brother.
It'd be fun.
It helps me sleep. That's why.
Fun.
So that's why I take it at like 7. It really helps me like go to sleep after.
I respect y'all for being able to be lit while y'all record.
Yeah,
I take this shit way too serious for me.
I just be laughing.
Just be talking about sports, you know?
Nonsense. Yeah, exactly. I overthink it way too much.
Yeah, man.
How was your lunch with your dad?
It was good, man. We went to
Happy birthday, Stan.
Yeah, happy birthday to my pops. We went to Ellen Stardust Diner in the city.
Steakhouse?
No, it's the place both my parents love. But it's a place where like wannabe Broadway people go. So like they wait tables and stuff, but they sing there. So they sing all these Broadway shows while like you're eating and stuff. So you get like a little entertainment and stuff. But the last like 2 or 3 years we've been going there for my dad's birthday. So we're just Uber in, Uber out, you know. Calm, but it was good, you know, calm. Got a chicken sandwich, nice. I liked it.
You can never go wrong with a chicken sandwich. What type of chicken sandwich was it? Any spices on it?
Yeah, it was like a hot sauce came with it. There was like some fried onions on it.
You always get the chicken sandwich?
Some cheese.
No pickles?
No pick. You're right. I should have asked for some fucking pickles. Last time I got a cheesesteak. Cheesesteak was cool.
Pickle guy.
I love pickles.
The more the merrier.
On a chicken sandwich too, definitely love pickles.
I'm asking for extra pickle.
I should have asked.
Yeah, I'm not a big pickle guy.
Because it could have used some nice fresh juice, you know.
I'll be honest. At this point in my life, if a burger and or chicken sandwich doesn't have pickles, I'm not eating it.
I don't blame it. I'll still eat it, but pickles makes it so much better.
Pickles for me is like bacon on a burger. Like I need bacon on a burger.
Oh, I don't really. I can do without it. Okay.
Yeah, I need bacon. Bacon is the thing that like makes my burger go.
Did have a bacon burger today.
Nice. Where from?
Saddlebrook Diner. The Fiesta Burger.
Okay. Is that the barbecue sauce?
Nope. It is.
Fiesta sounds Mexican.
It's got avocado, lettuce, tomato, bacon,
tortilla chips, strips,
spicy mayo.
Nice.
Very good.
Spicy mayo is OD.
Spicy mayo. That burger goes every time. Get a medium. Can't get my burgers medium rare for whatever reason.
I always get my burgers medium. Steaks. It depends where I'm going for a steak. If I'm going somewhere nice, I'll get medium rare.
If it's steak, I'm only getting a steak at a nice spot, which means I'm getting a medium rare. If I'm getting a burger, no matter where I am, it's medium. Mm-hmm. Every time.
Have you guys? Sorry, Rev, this doesn't include you this year. Have you guys made Valentine's Day plans? Well, I know you're set, right?
That was wicked.
I didn't want to say it outright because then you'd be like, bro, blah, blah, blah. So I just,
You know what? That's
I wanted
fair.
to,
That's fair.
you know,
I
I
actually
preemptively.
But what? Maybe you have made Valentine's plans.
You could have asked that. Thank you.
I feel like you would have told me. We're close.
We would have known.
Thank
It's
you.
Black History Month. The brothers got to
just-
stick together.
Yeah. No plans. So you guys can talk.
Have you guys made plans?
Well, I'm going to Mount Creek
Nice.
for the weekend.
Sorry. that was
It's
an
like
accident.
in celebration with Valentine's Day and my 10-year anniversary, so
yeah.
it should be fun.
Have you made any?
I have not made any plans, but I will soon. I'm gonna lock in on that. I'm gonna make plans. Yeah, kind of the trip to Arizona because I went there for Jess's birthday. That doesn't fall in line with this, but you know, it was a big spending spree. I
Yeah,
did out
for
there,
sure,
you know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? So
Shit like that don't count though.
So
it
some
does
calm.
not.
Some calm. Maybe, you know, be at the crib.
That's
cook,
why,
cook
you
her
know,
something,
her-
get some flowers.
Her birthday
Some
gift.
candles.
Her birthday
Candles,
gift was
yeah.
pretty much
Lingerie.
going out there. So now I'm about to. I don't know. I got to think of some ideas of what I want to get her.
What's up with this guy, bro? What's wrong with this guy, bro?
I don't know.
Bro? I'm saying it's Valentine's Day. Make it a freaky night.
Hey, no wrong with that.
Fuck it, like,
Yeah.
get some wine.
Last time,
lingerie,
actually,
candles, go freaky.
Apothecarium has like edible, but it's like love edibles. I
that's
guess supposed to
tough.
like up shit. It didn't do nothing to me. I think it's placebo, but
Yeah,
they
I'll
got them.
probably just go to a steakhouse.
Yo, bro, you need help. You need help, bro.
Bro, the first thing I open the app, the first thing that's there, it says love with THC, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure, it's like $10 or something.
With the
Some
hash
small
has
shit.
that.
An apothecary. Yeah. Hasher just their website.
Yo,
Okay,
you're
okay.
demonic.
You're
You want to
sicko.
be interested?
I mean, it would pique
Thank
my
you.
interest. I'm
Okay.
not gonna say no,
What
but
are you doing for V-Day?
We got reservations at a spot in Jersey City.
facts. The actual day we're going to a Kiku-esque, Mount Fuji-esque
Fire.
type spot. I think it's Imperial 46.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel
heard
like I've
that.
seen that.
Yeah, Alexandra is excited about it. So Imperial 46. She made the reservation. So
Nice.
shout out to her.
Yeah.
I'll probably be just getting drunk on Friday.
Damn, she's taking initiative.
That's when you know I got it.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. Well, she's not watching. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I run shit.
yeah. Jess might watch this when I'm editing it later, so I can't reveal too much.
I know Jess watches. So, bro,
What? Like, get some freaky night, bro. Like, I'm trying to throw some ideas out there. That's what I'd have did, bro. Candles, wine.
Do y'all? I don't want to throw you on the bus if you don't, but Chelsea is big on me asking her to be her Valentine. So yesterday, like I got her a card, I got her some flowers. Do y'all do that?
No,
or
it's so
not?
funny you say that. For years and years and years, didn't think about it. People get in Alexandra's ear and make her fucking start to think some shit. She goes, "You still haven't asked me to be your Valentine." I'm like, "Be real. When have I ever asked you for that?" I was like, "All right, I'll ask you. I'm
Thought
cool
I
with
passed
that."
that step.
Oh, damn. I'm 10 years in.
Someone I
You're
saw,
my Valentine.
Someone on Twitter said, "Do you ask your mother to be your mom on Mother's Day?" It's like, yo, you might have
Nah, they
cooked.
cooked.
It's like you got a franchise quarterback. I mean, sometimes it's understood.
That's
you
a
got,
fact.
You got it already.
a
So
good
understood don't
analogy.
got to be explained.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
But I knew she liked it. So yesterday, the issue's been I haven't had a car, so like I haven't been able to like I've been using her car, like my mom's. I used for like a couple hours, go to the gym or something. So yesterday, my mom just didn't need it, so I went out, got some flowers, got a
What
card.
you just like? You got on your knee. It was like, like how'd you do it?
I just gave it to her, bro.
So I thought you did it some exotic way.
Getting
and
on a
shit.
knee for asking to be Valentine's.
I've seen some crazy shit on Twitter.
Did I
man,
tell
this
you guys
year.
what I got Alexandra for our anniversary? 120 roses.
Oh yeah,
10 dozen roses for 10 years.
Nice, man.
Yeah, that was
fire.
lit. That bouquet was crazy. Driving with that, bro, I
Probably
was
dropped
going
the
to an
bag on
accident.
that too, bro.
Yo,
That shit
Whole
was probably-
Foods is
blessed.
the GOAT.
I went to Whole Foods for the rose I got yesterday.
I called a spot for the roses. The estimate was $750. I said, thank you very much. Hung up the phone instantaneously. Whole Foods, 150 beans.
Damn.
That is so calm.
They have
did
a florist you could call, or you just like went there.
I went there and just picked
Whole
out
Foods
all of
in
them.
Bergen
Yes,
Townsend?
yes. Dude, I saw the price. I smiled like I was stealing from them.
They had 10 dozen roses just available.
Yes.
Because when I went yesterday, I went kind of late. Maybe that's why they didn't have a lot of selection.
Maybe I stole all of them. Bro,
Maybe.
I swear I was there on my anniversary. I counted 1, 2, 3. They had like 13. So I didn't feel terrible stealing
Okay,
all of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But I still took a good amount
Yeah,
of them.
they just opened a florist right by me on Pleasant.
Damn,
I'm
no
gonna see what's
troll.
up
I don't
with that.
remember the last time I celebrated V-Day.
Let me
Even
see.
with your ex?
Zari? I don't think we was together
Did I
on
show
V-Day.
y'all?
Yeah, it was mad nice.
Yeah, I don't think we was together on V-Day.
Weren't you there for over a year?
Yeah, but I don't remember the timeline of it. If we were together, I ain't do shit for that girl. So I really don't.
Oh
I really don't know. Yeah, nah.
You're funny, bro.
Yeah. I think next week. Damn, no. I'm my baby mother. She's going out with her boyfriend, so I got my kid for the weekend. Yeah, so
You're sick?
yeah. I'm not even gonna
Treat RJ, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to go out and see where the single woman was at on V-Day. I'm not even gonna cap to you, but it's all right.
You can get RJ some chocolate or something.
Nah.
RJ's your Valentine.
He actually doesn't like chocolate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a
Like
big
candy?
fruits. No, he's a fruits guy. Like fruits and
That's
vegetables.
lit.
Yeah, but the problem is that's all he eats, so he's so fucking skinny.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like eat.
He doesn't like protein?
Yeah, like he doesn't really eat like chicken. He'll chew it, eat it, but not like too much. He wants some fruit, so you got to give him fruit.
He's getting up there now. What is he, 4?
5.
Insane.
He'll be 6 in May.
Is he in kindergarten?
Yes, he graduated pre-K. She was
Nice.
terrible.
What do you
The
mean?
ceremony was garbage, bro.
Pre-K ceremony, bro.
5 minutes, bro.
It's so funny you say that, dude, because the best graduation I had was COVID. By far and away. At the crib.
What
That
made
was
it good?
fun.
Just that you didn't have
I
to
was
go
at the
nowhere?
crib.
His mom like threw something put
Oh,
together
see,
for
that's
us.
fine.
It was awesome. She
That's
had
fine.
like the loudspeaker outside. She
Yeah,
called
yeah,
all of
that
us.
shit was
She
funny.
printed out diplomas for all of us.
I remember I borrowed Christian's cap and gown.
Yup,
Fucking
that was
G's
cool.
If
brothers.
they hired your mom, she could have done a way better job than that bullshit they had out there. Bro, I got there. Shit was 10 minutes. They called his name, River Brown Jr.
You got to go to the city too?
Nah, it was he goes to school in East Orange.
Okay.
So he's there. You know, they call his name. I'm like,
East
yeah, we're
Orange?
like, yeah, we're like, ah. Then they call it. It's only like 20 kids.
Who is it? Your BM lives in the city, no?
Nah, she lives in
No.
East Orange.
Oh shit.
Can she get
oh,
out
you're
of East
you're
Orange?
bugging your mom.
Can we get her out of there?
At least the South Orange.
She's
No,
entitled,
please.
she's entitled to do whatever she wants.
No. We
you
need
know?
to get her out of East Orange instantaneously.
Well, the school is literally across the street.
That's nice.
That's why it's funny when she's late. I laugh because it's like,
You're
why
telling
are
me
you
you
late?
wouldn't be late?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably me, but it's like we don't have a job. So
Yeah, it's not fun.
you know
It's not fun living in the trenches.
She's
Nah,
she's
East
from
Orange,
Newark, so
I know that all too well.
This guy's crazy.
If you guys didn't know, I think I told you the story. When I went to Arizona last week, I booked an
God.
Airbnb in a really nice area. It was awesome, but I needed to stay because I extended the flight because Jess wanted to stay longer in Arizona, and it worked out better because we had the party on the weekend and we were gonna leave Saturday, so we left Monday instead. They didn't have any bookings for Sunday throughout that day, so I had to book an Airbnb. I go on the app, I'm looking at all the places I could stay, and I look at this place. It looks amazing. I'm like, okay, this is nice. It's an affordable price. Let me book this. It's in Phoenix. I'm driving. I'm 10 minutes away. I'm finally there. I go to the street. The neighborhoods are already looking a little bit rough. So I'm kind of like, man, I hope
What
this
made you
is
think the neighborhood was rough? Can you describe it?
just the streets had cracks on it. There was graffiti on like the walls and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You could just tell when you see liquor stores. You could just tell. And then I turn the car, and the first wall I see is just filled with graffiti, and the GPS tells me that this is the street. I just got to make a right turn. And then I just look at Jess, and I'm like, okay, this is us. And we go there, and I'm like, damn, I wish the Airbnb dude, like, he ain't have no disclaimer, like, yo,
Of course
This
he's
is-
not.
this
He's trying to
is-
sell his crib.
this
He's
is
not
the
be like, yeah,
hood,
you're in
but
the hood.
it was Central City, Phoenix, and Central City, Phoenix is
Was
like,
it at least a nice B&B?
it was nice.
Okay.
Central City, Phoenix is the worst area in Phoenix.
You didn't ask Jess,
This
like,
one-
yo.
I didn't. It's the equivalent of her getting an Airbnb out here and like booking
Oh,
us.
Tori Craig
in,
to Boston.
He sucks.
it's the equivalent of her booking an Airbnb in like Camden or Patterson. Like that's the
shit.
equivalent.
Hey,
that's-
brother, you was in
that's
the
pretty
trenches.
awful.
And then I was there,
Or
and
East
then
Orange.
wow, Patterson might be worse.
No, Patterson's worse.
Yeah.
East Orange is just, I think, bigger. I think that's why.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. It's not too far off. And then we just stay in the house, and I didn't sleep that night because when I was sleeping, I heard gunshots, and I was like, shit, I gotta wake up. So I know what it's like being in an area like that and having legitimate fear, and not understanding, when your last breath is gonna be.
You can't sleep
my
with you
God.
can't sleep with gunshots.
Can we ask that question though? Like, can anyone?
I have before when I was living in New York.
Well, I'm
Is
so
it
I'm so
pleasant?
used to it that
I'm a deep sleeper.
I think I could.
So
I'm a deep sleeper as well. Once I'm out, I'm out. That being said,
yeah.
if gunshots go off before I go to sleep, I'll be like, I
be
wonder
harder
what's
to fall
going on.
You're definitely sitting there like, let me close this window. Lock the window. Because my grandma, like, I live on the 15th floor when I was living over there, so no gunshot can really get me. But just cautiously, let me close the window for the night. Let me close the terrace. Let me make sure all the doors is locked in. Just to see in case somebody, gets it. She said, my grandma told me today, earlier actually, somebody died on the 5th floor.
Jeez.
And they didn't know she was dead. So when they found her in the apartment, the smell just destroyed like the whole building. So now it's just dead people smells all over the building. It was really bad. This lady, she didn't have any kids. Nobody checked up on her, but they said she was dead for like 2 weeks.
It's just worse when you're in an area that you have no familiarity with, because like I'm in like this dude's backyard. The Airbnb, like his house is here, and then there's a casita in the back. It's like a 400-foot square house, like tiny house. And I'm there, and the fence, like, I mean, anybody could easily get in the backyard, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, okay, like, there's, like, no, like, security at all. So that leaves you a little bit more uneasy about things.
It'd be like that, bro. I'm glad you made it out safe, man. 'Cause a lot
Thank
of
you.
people
I
can't
appreciate it.
You know
And
what
I
I'm
went
saying?
from a gated Airbnb community to, I was very vulnerable.
Bro, trench work.
Yeah.
Next time you got to carry that thing on you.
Yeah. It's open carry in Arizona, actually.
Carry that thing on you just in case you got to spaz out on it.
I was talking to some people out there that are pro-gun advocates, and I don't really have a strong stance either way.
Come and take it.
And they were just like, I feel more safe when we do have a strap on us, because
I'm glad you're throwing the accent.
if somebody were to come in the backyard, like it makes me comfortable that the man next to me has something that he can use to protect all of us. And I was like, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, it's definitely a good way of looking at it, because like to the citizens, they got to keep us safe. And I was like, hey, maybe.
I'll tell you what, man. This guy Trump's been in office, and politics conversations have been at an all-time high. Like, I feel like every time I'm in a conversation, at some point in time, some type of politics is coming up.
Stephen A. Smith is running
for fucking DC. That is insane.
He's not official. He's not
be honest.
actually doing it, but there's steam behind it. Like, there are people that are talking about it, and he's talking about politics more as
Shout
well.
out to Stephen A.
If
Smith.
Trump can run for president, not just win
Twice.
2 times, yeah, I can see Stephen A. run and I'll be okay.
His
I'm not
aura's
gonna lie.
there.
Stephen A. Smith would smoke Trump in a debate. Like, I think he would smoke.
Here's the thing, Stephen A. is built for this.
Yeah, like
He's built for this.
He's really
Trump,
one-on-one.
Trump was ducking Kamala. He didn't want to debate her.
He didn't.
They had one debate, right?
One debate.
And then after that, he was like, nah, it's over.
Stephen A. Smith, man.
Especially at that time, bro, he's going to be 80.
Oh, he's gonna be so old. But the thing is, Trump. Well, who knows? Apparently,
Well, he's done. I'm bugging.
Well,
He's,
I was gonna say people fear that there may not be another election.
Imagine third term.
That's the shit that's getting me.
Stephen A. is he's funny. He went on Fox and he was talking to Sean Hannity.
Did hear this.
And Hannity was just he was just laughing at him, making a mock of like him potentially running for a presidency. And Stephen A. was like, I would smoke you. He was like, if we went up against each other, you would have no chance.
Talk, Stephen
No,
A.
it's funny.
He's
Nah.
out there, him, man.
I mean, yeah,
True
he's been doing that
pioneer of our
20
game,
years.
man.
Yeah, nah, he's funny.
He's our LeBron.
Hey,
man.
we'll see. So let's get into these trade
Yeah,
deadline
let's talk about it
moves.
again.
Yeah, let's get into these trade deadline moves. I think the first move we should talk about.
Yeah, let's carry the conversation, baby.
Luka to the Lakers. I'm just joking. I'm sure everybody's tired of that.
This is a 14 trade between the Heat, Wizards, Warriors, and Jazz. Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. 2 years, $121 million extension he got. The Heat get Wiggins, Anderson, a 2025 top 10 protected first
Anderson
round
stayed?
pick. Yeah, he is going to stay. The Jazz get KJ Martin and a second round pick. And the Pistons, because of a buyout with the Jazz, get Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters III. And the Jazz, they will waive Josh Richardson and Jalen Hood-Schifino. Interesting turn of events. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been multiple teams have given up on him.
Yeah, the reality is Jalen Hood-Schifino's not good. And when I said that a win for the Lakers was getting Jalen Hood-Schifino off their team and actually having him lead to something positive, I was being dead serious. Jalen Hood-Schifino is unfortunately not a great basketball player. Now, when we talked about this earlier, I'm still going to hold the same sentiment. Jimmy Butler to the Warriors is a win. Jimmy Butler is great at basketball. I don't care that we're trying to talk about narrative more so than we're talking about his on-court ability, because a lot of the narratives recently haven't been great. And that's fair because the whole situation with him, Pat Riley in Miami has been terrible. I look at Miami and think, hey, You could have gotten nothing. You got Andrew Wiggins, a first-round pick protected, and Anderson. That's pretty good considering what I thought you were going to get, which was essentially nothing. So kudos to the Miami Heat. But end of the day, Jimmy Butler is still, when he's still right, top 15, top 20 NBA player in the league right now. He's still amazing at basketball. He can handle the basketball. That's something that they needed. They needed another creator. That's not Draymond Green, because Draymond Green cannot create his shot or get a bucket anywhere near the level that Jimmy Butler can. They need somebody else that can have the basketball other than Steph Curry. So this was a huge boost for them. Losing Wiggins, obviously, I know Riv is heartbroken. That's his guy. That was one of his favorite players to watch. I'm being sincere when I say this. That was pretty tough for him.
Don't forget what he did to you.
But Jimmy Butler's still amazing. He's still incredible. He's arguably a top 3 Heat of all time. I really do feel like that's true. John
Probably
put that
is.
on Twitter. He really is. He's had some of their best playoff performances in their franchise's history. I understand that the Warriors right now aren't the best team. Far from. They're actually not good. But Jimmy Butler makes them incredibly better. I don't care what the narrative on Jimmy Butler is. He's still amazing at basketball, regardless of how you want to shake it. So I think the Heat, they won in their own right. But the Warriors were looking for a number 2 next to Steph Curry. And they got a great one in Jimmy Butler. The only question is 120 M's.
A lot of money.
That is where I can understand where some arguments can be made, but it's Jimmy Butler. He was going to get paid wherever he went.
Yeah, and I don't think you make that move just to lose him in the offseason or, have whatever other drama Jimmy Butler wants to bring up if he doesn't get a contract. But I think for the Warriors, it's a good move. Andrew Wiggins has been great this season. I don't think we can overlook it. I think for the regular season, you can make an argument like Andrew Wiggins this year at least has been better than Jimmy Butler. But when it comes to playoff time, the way that Jimmy Butler raises your ceiling, Andrew Wiggins can't do that, right? Like Wiggins is a sensational role player, but we saw Jimmy Butler just a couple of seasons ago carry that Miami Heat team to the NBA Finals. He went through the Bucks, he went through the Celtics, he went through the Knicks, and even took Denver to 6 games. Like that was a Denver team.
It was
5 games. Got 1 game on Denver. No, I mean I gotta give him credit for at least
Lakers got
getting
0.
1.
Yeah,
So
he got 1.
we know Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, he could be a riser, and even at 35 years old, he's still a really good defender. And I think when he's locked in, especially in a playoff setting, he's going to be, one of their best perimeter defenders. Now, I still don't know when I look at the Western Conference, does this mean the Warriors are locked into a top 8 seed? I don't know, because the West is still so damn good.
So amazing.
And even though you get better with Jimmy Butler, of course, you still have a lot of holes on that team, right? Like that takes down your 3-point shooting a ton. Andrew Wiggins was one of the better 3-point shooters for the Warriors. He was hitting about 38% on like 6 attempts. Jimmy Butler's under 2 attempts. Not a crazy high percentage. So I think that's probably the biggest knock. But as Drew mentioned, getting a secondary creator next to Steph Curry was always priority number 1. We've talked about basically every player under the sun when it comes to Warriors, to Levine, to fucking LaMelo, to Laurie. I mean, we've talked about basically everybody when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. And I think giving Jimmy Butler is a big W. We'll see if they're able to finish off this regular season strong and make a play-in push. For Miami, for where Jimmy Butler put you, this is a huge W. Getting Andrew Wiggins, getting some of the other role players we mentioned, like Kyle Anderson. I think it's a really good haul with the first round pick that in a couple of years could convey into an unprotected pick. It's top 10 this year, top 10 next year. Then it's an unprotected first round pick. I don't know if the Warriors are going to have, top 10 selections, but there's a decent chance that in a couple of years that pick can be valuable. So where we stand right now, where the Miami Heat stood just a couple of days ago, it felt like they were lost. It felt like, there was reported out there that Jimmy Butler was cool coming back to Miami. He was ready to put everything to the side. But I think it was best for both parties that they moved on from each other. He put in a lot of years in Miami, multiple finals run, multiple ECF runs. He was phenomenal for them. And it sounds kind of crazy to say to be a top 3 player in the Heat franchise when you think of all the stars that they've had. But when you look at his resume, it's really hard to deny it. So I think Jimmy Butler, even though the ending was sour, what he was able to do for Miami is fantastic. But yeah, the big story is Golden State, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler. What does that look like going forward? And Riv made a good point in our group chat. All of the money is basically off the books for Golden State in 27-28. So you're going to have like a 2 to 3 year run here with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler with the extension to see if you could put something together around these guys, because I still think there's parts that could be moved around them outside of like Draymond Green, whether that's Kuminga, Moody, Pods, if he has any value. Pods been on a little bit of a hot streak, Riv. I don't know if you've been peeping, a little bit of a hot streak. Maybe his values, went from 1.5 stars to 2 stars. We'll see. But I think I think getting Jimmy Butler's a big W for the Warriors, who desperately needed some star power and some talent overall on the team.
Well, first of all, for Detroit, start there. getting Dennis Schroeder is good for them, man. I think losing Jaden Ivey early in the year kind of hurt them a little bit in the sense of he was playing really well. You know, he was somebody who was starting to find his stride, and we felt like last year Monty Williams kind of hindered him, kind of put him in a tough position. But with JB Bickerstaff, he kind of found his way, and him get hurt really was tough. And it kind of put a lot more pressure on Cade on ball. Now you get someone like Dennis Schroeder, who I don't think he was playing his role in Golden State. He loves to get downhill. He loves to get to the cup. Loves to play in the pick and roll, be aggressive. He can kind of do that with the second unit with Detroit, you know, kind of be that guy that Jaden Ivey was. So good move for them to get somebody to kind of help them stay in the hunt, in the playoffs, in the East. For Miami, I agree. I think they kind of got out this a good way. You know, you got Andrew Wiggins, who can still give you complimentary minutes, and talk about just him being a fine role player to Tyler Hero, to Bam Adebayo. We talked about it earlier. Bam Adebayo's ascension, kind of playing with Khalil Ware, a center at the 5. He's been amazing. He's been efficient. He's still giving you that defense. Now you plug in Andrew Wiggins. That's a scary front court on the defensive side of the basketball. That Wiggins, Bam, Khalil Ware. And you got Hayward Highsmith off the bench. He's a really good defender. And then Tyler Hero kind of leading the ship. You don't have a championship team, but you still have a fun, competitive team in the East that can, you know, maybe salvage something in the offseason to get somebody. But nonetheless, Miami came out as good, like you mentioned. Those top 10 protected picks, if they get them, we trust Miami's development system where they'll get a guy late, they can develop him. If they don't, you know, they'll still be fine. As for Golden State, my whole sentiment has always been just, you know, be competitive. Just give them a chance. And I think getting Jimmy Butler is a good win because it gives you a chance. The West is stacked. Nobody's denying that. I don't even think they'll win a championship. I never once stated that. But just to give yourselves a chance to kind of be in that horse of where you can potentially get a 7th seed, an 8th seed, a 9th seed, a 10th seed, that's something you do. And then figure it out in the offseason. Because now you have Steph, you have Dre, you have Jimmy Butler locked in until, you know, 2027, 2028. So it kind of just gives yourself to be in that hunt with the Suns, be in that hunt with Sacramento, Minnesota, and just that 7 to 9 range where you were kind of at the 11th seed sitting out. That's all you wanted, and that's all you can get, especially with the way you were calling teams and how, you know, you thought you were going to get Kevin Durant, and he didn't want to go there. You know, you could have got Zach LaVine. You didn't get Zach. You called about Paul George after already losing him in the offseason. You know, so you finally got Jimmy Butler, and then he extended after allegedly having a report saying he wouldn't extend with Golden State. He ends up extended. So now you just have to hope he comes in with a chip on his shoulder. He plays really hard, and he gives you the Jimmy Butler you want him to give you. I agree with you, though, Dez. I do think there's still a couple of holes on the roster that maybe they can go into the buyout market and try to figure out. But for right now, you have Steph, you have Jimmy Butler, you have Draymond. You kind of locked in your 2-3 years of what you're going to be. You be competitive, you ride out into the sunset, and you figure it out for life after Steph.
I think Jimmy Butler was awesome for the Heat, and I think his tenure was successful. The writing was on the wall that the marriage was probably going to end this year just based off the contract situation. I don't think either side handled it all that well. But the Miami Heat, I have a lot of respect for a team that is able to remain competitive without trying to tear down everything and completely rebuild. Because it's easy to do that. It's easy to just trade every valuable asset you have on your team and just try to sell to your fans that you're just going to be pathetic for the next couple of years in hopes of hitting on your draft picks. But that's never been the Heat's way. You know, even with Dwayne Wade, with those seasons where they struggled, they were able to land LeBron and Chris Bosh. Then after LeBron left, they were able to have a successful season with Chris Bosh. You brought in Hassan Whiteside, who was a revelation for them. Then you signed Jimmy Butler in that offseason, and he kind of revitalized the franchise. And I think the Heat are in a really good position with their asset pool. They have 3 All-Stars in Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Andrew Wiggins. Khalil Ware.
3 All-Stars. It's true.
It is true. I didn't think you were going that route.
Factually true.
It is.
I think Khalil Ware has All-Star potential.
Super team.
Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, you mentioned Haywood Highsmith, who's been great for the Miami Heat, especially as a defender. You have Kyle Anderson there. They just have a lot of depth. You still have Terry Rozier, and I'm probably missing a couple players. Davion Mitchell got traded to them too.
Exact.
You know, they have an identity, a defensive first identity, and I think it's going to fit them. And Davion Mitchell, who's bounced around some teams recently, I think he can find a home with
He's
the
the
Heat.
new Gabe Vincent.
I think he fits exactly what Eric Spoelstra is trying to preach. I think Heat culture, Davion Mitchell is a representation of that. And this team is yeah, you're right. They're not going to be able to compete for a championship, but who's to say that a year or two from now, one of those star guys won't be available and they'll have the asset pool to go after that. They'll have the salaries to go after somebody like that. You know, I think when you remain competitive, stars look at that situation and they want to be a part of it. I think that's a big reason why the Nets were able to get KD and Kyrie over the Knicks in the 2019 offseason is because they came off a playoff appearance. They were a gritty, competitive team, and the Knicks were a bottom-dwelling team. And KD and Kyrie said, I think that place is better. So I think the Heat are positioning themselves for the future, and it doesn't always have to result in a championship contending team immediately. As for the Warriors, they settled. They wanted Kevin Durant. They got Jimmy Butler. Kevin Durant told them no. I
That's
know.
a good consolation prize.
Hey, it's an all right consolation prize, and I think Jimmy Butler, his play this year is not a representation of who he is. He wasn't trying this year, and now he's probably going to try with the Warriors, and we'll see the real version of Jimmy Butler and how he's going to play this season. But they wanted Kevin Durant, and I think there was some bitterness with how the tenure ended, which is why KD didn't want to go back there. He would rather just stay in Phoenix, and I do agree. The Warriors got better. How much better did they get? The Jimmy Butler magical playoff run happened 2 seasons ago. That's a long time ago, and he's aged 2 years from then. He's 35 now. I think this is just a very old team, and I don't see any way this team is legitimately going to compete, but I guess they have given the fans some optimism that there's maybe a possibility if Steph gets back to who he is, and if Jimmy Butler can be magical in the playoffs again, and if Draymond can be defensive player of the year caliber. I just don't think that any of those things are what they are now. I think Draymond is still a elite defender for sure, but I think Steph Curry has dropped off, and I think Jimmy Butler has also dropped off from 2 years ago, and I just don't see this team making any meaningful deep playoff run.
I don't think
you could say that about the Heat, though.
Well, I don't think we're expecting the Heat to make any
They're
sort
not
of
in a
run.
position to do that.
But here's the thing: I don't think any of us are expecting the Warriors to make a run. Truthfully,
I just
My expectations make the playoffs. If you do that,
yeah, my expectation. I just the way I don't know how the conversation shifts from Miami and how they're
3 All-Stars deep.
Yeah, 3 All-Stars
He
deep.
was trolling.
How they're
He was joking.
they're good. They can remain competitive, and then with the Warriors, it's
he's saying for the future though.
I don't.
Because here's
their future asset pools outside of Khalil Ware?
well, Bam,
Tyler Hero.
Hero.
One of them would have to go.
You got Hyman, you got Jovic.
Tommy's okay.
That's facts.
Jovic is
Jovic
okay.
is good too.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't have like that star young player to highlight a package, but I think you got multiple young pieces that if you put them together with some draft picks could be intriguing.
And how many years does Duncan Robinson have left on his contract? Because that's
One
another.
more.
Okay.
Yes, they can't
All
be
right,
much
that's
more.
actually
I forgot
good.
to mention him too. That's a
I
shooter.
don't even. Does Miami have draft capital? Because that's always been their issue with
They
trying
haven't
to trade.
traded. Who
They
did
own their
trade for?
2026 first round pick next year.
They
Let
traded
me
for
also
Rozier.
say this. You mentioned the Nets and how they were able to do. Another team that comes to mind is the Clippers. Them being one of the better 8 seeds, giving a decent series to the Golden State Warriors. And then a couple seasons later, you have Kawhi and Paul George on your team now because of that. How great that supporting cast and those role players were. So I understand your logic there.
Listen,
this isn't a team for this year.
yeah,
The issue, though, with the Warriors is, to be fair to Joel, is
Steph Curry.
they're
is
old.
on a team.
And it's Steph Curry.
I think they're more in the West. I think that's the issue.
It's both. You're in the West,
yeah.
and you're off the books on your 3 old players in 27, 28.
Even if you're in the East, I don't think you get past the second round.
I don't think Miami does either.
Nah.
I don't know if they're first or they get into the second.
I'm not saying this is a move that the Warriors shouldn't have made. I think they should have made this move.
Yeah.
Because it gives them
Get better.
a much better chance to compete for something. But yes, the expectation for the Heat and for the Warriors are much different. We know
Honestly,
that
I don't know.
We
I don't
know
think so.
we know that the Warriors
Your
are
expectations
not
different
that
because
good.
of Curry.
I don't even think so.
I don't have any.
I mean yes, you don't have any expectations for the Warriors to do anything meaningful in the playoffs because we know how great the teams in the West are. But when you have Steph Curry and you have Jimmy Butler and you have Draymond Green,
Correct.
Yes, the goal for those specific players, the goal for Steph, the goal for Jimmy Butler, is to make a deep playoff run. They want to play for something meaningful.
I agree, but I think you can look at an individual person and say, yeah, that would be his goal because of his status of who he is. And then you can look at the roster outlook and be like, that's not their goal. And I think coming into this year, that was never their goal.
Last year's Lakers team, would you say their goal was to be just a playoff team?
Oh, your goal to win a championship. You just
What
went
was
to
that?
the WCF.
Yeah, I just went to
Just
the
last year, we
WCF.
just went to the WCF.
Your goal was to win a championship.
Now,
But you
our
guys are-
goals 2 years ago,
You
was
guys are
our
mu-
goal
but-
just to make the playoffs, or was our goal to make a deep playoff push?
But y'all was much better than us. And y'all have 2 stars.
I'm not disagreeing with that point, but the whole thing is a lot of people's perception on the Lakers was they're just not that good. but they still were able to make a deep playoff run. That my question being is, do you look at the Lakers and just think, no, their goal was, hey, let's just get there. Let's just be a playoff team. No, once you're there, you're trying to actually make it happen.
I think it's different though. You guys didn't need to make. I think you guys had to make little small moves. You guys had your 2 stars already that were already in sync in connection. With the Warriors, they're kind of making a move at the deadline because they're ass. It's different. You guys were making moves to complement your 2 guys. This team already doesn't have the complementary piece, and they didn't have the star. So now you got a star, but it's not the same star like you mentioned from 2 years ago. We don't know what he is, and then you still have guys that don't necessarily complement those guys. So I get your concept, but it's still 2 different situations.
But that's where we're at now. But the Warriors are the first team in NBA history to start off the season 11-3, and at this point in the seasons to not be 500.
But those players that played well in the beginning simply aren't playing that
It's not
well.
even that.
But
You look
also
at the first 14 games. Look at the teams they played.
Okay, that's a fair point. But
Boston.
if I'm not mistaken,
Boston.
We always beat Boston.
there's a
Always
stat
crazy.
that the Warriors have lost the most games in the NBA this year after leading in the third quarter.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Usually fourth quarter, that's Curry's time, and it really hasn't been that.
I
No,
think
Curry's
it's-
been clutch this year, statistically.
I think it's probably just a minute allocation that, Curry usually doesn't start off fourth quarters, and Curry leaves Curry on the bench for a lot
Go
of
ahead,
them.
say it. Say it.
But that to me is speaking to a team that is able to win games, but they're being held back by
Coaching.
by coaching.
But it's coaching, but it's the roster too. Like, I don't know, unless you think differently, Riv, is Curry going to go out there every fourth quarter and play 12 minutes?
So I think sometimes, like Joel mentioned, you have a if you feel like the game can get out of hand, if your star player starts the fourth quarter, it's all situational. Like there'd be moments where Steph comes in at the 5-6 minute mark and he done left the game in the third quarter. They're up 12. He comes back in, now they're down 8. So now you
Yes.
need him to go.
Like a perfect
Herculean.
example of it is like the other night when they beat OKC, Curry was iced out in the fourth quarter. Steve Kerr kept him on the bench for too long. I think they just got lucky with the shots that Pod hit, and then the
about
fadeaway.
OKC game?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
fadeaway that Kyle Anderson hit. Like
Some
you know,
bullshit, yeah.
they got very fortunate that they were able to hit these miraculous shots with the time and the situation in the game, and that didn't come back to haunt Steve Kerr. But that is a moment that if they lose the lead that they have built and they lose the game, we're like, why wasn't Steph out there? And I think that's happened far too
But I
often.
think that's what Jimmy Butler helps with, because with Curry off the court, it's one of the worst teams in basketball. I mean, offensively, it might be the worst team in basketball, and we got some bad teams out there.
Steve Kerr he just doesn't adjust. I don't know. He doesn't.
Listen, my
like, switch it.
expectation for the Warriors is not a finals run, it's not a conference finals run. I will say
You need to make
if
the playoffs.
if
with all
they
due
yes,
respect.
if they miss the playoffs, it's a disappointment.
I agree.
If they lose in the first round, depending on how they lose, it's a disappointment.
I agree.
I think a successful season for the Warriors is making at least the second round.
I agree. I don't hate that. I think depending on where they stick, like if they AFC'd against OKC, I don't think we expect them to beat OKC.
No.
Just make it competitive. Don't go out no 4 or 5 games. Don't go out no bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking for. But I agree with you guys. I think playoffs you have to make it. I think that's.
I want to also add the caveat that it's unreasonable to expect all-time greats to continue to be all-time great this late into their career. It's okay that Steph Curry's regressing, even if it's minor, even if it's slightly. Even if it is depressing, I agree with that. That's
Depressing
fair.
for who?
For his fans. It's sad that, it's coming to an end, and that's every basketball player. But I want it to just be said, everybody should know this, not everybody ages like LeBron, like Steph, like KD. Doesn't happen. This is not normal. What they're doing is very irregular. So even Steph Curry this late into his career doing what he's doing is impressive, but if it's not of the level like we're accustomed to, this is what's to be expected. Now it's on your front office. Now it's on your actual team to put pieces around him for him to succeed, which is why I can respect them going out and getting a Jimmy Butler. Even if he is 35 years old, they're making a conservative effort to at least show we're trying for you. We know what you've done for our franchise in the past with a good amount of help, to be fair, but that 2022 team wasn't overwhelming and you still were able to reach the mountaintop. At least show me that we can, if I'm Steph Curry, that you're willing to put in the effort for me to ride into the sunset in a respectable manner. That's all I ask. And I think this move did that.
I think he's gonna play a lot better with Jimmy Butler. Like I'm willing to bank
Definitely.
on that. Like now, like he's all that
oh, he's
I
seeing
think
two
Jimmy
at the
Butler's
ball.
gonna play well too.
Yeah, he's gonna play so much better. And when he does
I'm
play
actually
so much
excited
better,
to watch
excited.
the Warriors again. It's been a while since I've wanted to watch a Warriors game.
Yeah, he's gonna get so back,
Just
and I can't
these
wait.
eras when players age like this and they start forming these retirement home big threes, it reminds you of just what has happened in older decades in the NBA, like with the Nets, with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Darren.
I don't think
stuff.
they're not on that level.
No, they're not on that level. But then you look at the Rockets.
You just called Jimmy Butler like top 15, 20 player.
I don't know if he's that no more. I don't
Did you
know
not?
if he's
Did you?
that.
Did
I
you say
said-
that?
he
Oh,
said
my
I
bad.
didn't say that.
I think Jimmy Butler could still be
And
a
then
top
in the
20 player.
'90s,
He's
when
not
you
top 20. That's why I threw in the 15 to 20. Like, he's probably
think he'd
top,
be top 20.
and then you look at the '90s, or you look at the Rockets when they had Barkley, Olajuwon, and Scottie Pippen. You're just like, eh. You know,
Is
that's
Jimmy
just how the
Butler a
Warriors
top 20
feel.
player?
I have to see him play again. He's not playing like it. Right? Well, he hasn't. But we don't know if he's locked in or not. You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck is Steph in this predicament with this Brooklyn team?
I don't know. He doesn't exist.
I'm just saying, it's just an older team that you kind of like. You know, they're not gonna do nothing.
Oh, I mean, well, Kevin
not-
Durant, your guy is playing with a young star, and they're still ass.
yeah,
he's
they're
hooping.
1-10
He's
without
hooping.
Kevin Durant.
they're ass.
He's not wrong.
They
They're
are indeed.
24-15 with KD. They're 1-10 without KD.
Oh,
Oh, it's nuts.
what am I supposed to do with that information?
Yeah, but I mean, and I think the Sun situation is depressing too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it should be.
I'll be
depressing.
honest. It's not depressing. It's not. It's embarrassing.
They made their bed. They made that deal for Bradley
You
Beal.
have D-Book in his prime. Kevin Durant, who is in the later part of his
But playing
career.
like he's in his fucking prime.
He's been incredible.
I just watch the Suns and I think it's just
How
bad.
about that
it's bad
advanced stat?
basketball.
Let's look
It's
who's off
depressing
numbers
basketball.
better.
They did too much. They put way too many eggs in the wrong baskets. Nurkic was in the wrong basket. Bradley Beal was the wrong basket. Regardless of how good he looks some nights, it's just way too much money on your books. It's terrible. You have no real future assets.
Phoenix just messed up
It's
with
cooked.
the roster construction. I think trading for KD was fine. I think
I agree.
D-Book and having that duo was
agree.
valid. I think they gave up on DeAndre Ayton a little too early because if you look at the return they got for Ayton, they traded DeAndre Ayton and Tumani Kamara,
Who's been a
for-
stud for Portland.
Yusuf Nurkic, and Grayson Allen. You look at this Suns team right now. Let's just say they don't trade for Bradley Beal, they don't trade Ayton. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, KD, Kamara, Ayton. I think that's a really good team, especially if you make some moves
Tanami?
around the
Kamara.
edges. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a really good team. Chris Paul's still playing at a good level right now. You know, he's still managing the floor. He's a floor general. Like, imagine they still had him. I just think they got a little bit too trigger happy with the moves. And the Bradley Beal move was ultimately the nail in the coffin. Because
So bad.
when you trade for a player like that and you don't have flexibility to move him and he has all the leverage in the situation and it puts you in a bad cap situation, it's just hard to build a roster.
They got too trigger happy after they lost to the Nuggets. It was a really good series until it wasn't,
And
unfortunately,
they were
for
hurt
them.
that series too.
And they were hurt. And Ayton showed no heart, no effort, and that led to them moving on.
I'm not mad at them moving off of Ayton. Even though it might have been the wrong move, it was just the player they acquired that was wrong. I think the process of wanting to move off Ayton was fine. I think the process of acquiring Bradley Beal was wrong. The process was, and the player was wrong because
think-
it's
yeah.
not just obviously the depth you're giving up, but we all knew that was a bad contract. We all knew he had a no trade clause. This was an all-in move with all the second round picks too that has become very valuable post that trade. We see all these second round picks getting moved at the deadline for players. So it was the process was bad, the player was bad, and now he's untouchable because no one wants him.
You have the numbers?
What if I told you?
They're better with KD off the court.
What if I told you that they are actually better with KD off the court?
They're 1-10 when he doesn't play.
What if I told you they're better with him off the court?
I-
How would you feel?
I
Would
don't-
you-
minus
well,
You
one?
know what I would say?
I wouldn't care.
Throw
I
that
don't
shit in the
care.
trash.
I don't care.
Nah, I'm just playing. They're not better with KD off the court. Just wanted to see what you say.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw that stat in the trash.
100%.
What is it though? Did you look it up?
Yeah, I do have it.
Okay.
KD's.
Why what's the on and off?
I thought it would be higher. That's
Okay.
why. KD's on off is it's a positive, but it's 2.6.
What's Steph's?
Steph, well, he's the system, so it's 3.5.
It's like 0.9.
Yeah, it ain't shit around
You
here.
weren't giving that whole one, bro. It's at 0.9.
Yeah, man. There was a point in time where Steph was like +8, +9 swing.
I wish we would stop running him to death, but here we are.
I think the Warriors, not the same level because they don't have a Luka, but I just think a couple of years ago when the Mavericks get a disgruntled star in Kyrie Irving, they get their co-star for Luka. that year they missed the playoffs, right? Like it was, we were up here making fun of Luka Doncic. How do you miss the playoffs? Top 3 player in the world. Shit crazy.
Oh, you guys, not me.
But then the next year, you make some good moves. Nico Harrison makes some good moves at the trade deadline, and all of a sudden, this team is off and running. Again, they don't have Luka Doncic. They don't have a top 3 player in the world at
Who
the
has
time.
Luka?
At the time, it was the Mavericks. Now it's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
But I think that has to be the mindset for the Warriors. Is this year make the playoffs, right? Be an 8 seed, be a 7 seed if everything goes right. But really, you're probably still at least a year away from, if everything goes right and Dunleavy makes a couple of good moves in free agency or the offseason trade market, then maybe next year, if you hit on a couple of role players, we could talk about them maybe making like a WCF run.
Trade grades for this. What would you give the Heat?
B+.
Considering that they had no leverage, they're getting an A+.
Yeah, I'll give them like a A-. It was a good deal.
I'll give them a B+. What do you think about the Warriors? What is their grade?
C+, B-.
I'd give them a strong B+ because I respect Jimmy Butler and still think he's a great player.
I think they're probably at an A- too. Like you get Jimmy Butler, and of course you had to give up Wiggins, but you would have to give up somebody to make the money work. And Jimmy Butler, again, he's going to raise your ceiling in the playoffs if you make it there. He's going to be a key reason why you are competitive against Houston or OKC, wherever you play in the first round.
I'm gonna give this a B. What do you think about the Pistons? What did they get in?
Getting Dennis?
This is B+. For me.
Okay, I was thinking B. I'm fine with B+
Did
too.
they give up anything?
No,
Or they just
they
acquired
didn't.
the salary.
Literally like nothing.
Yeah, fuck it, A+.
Yeah, this is an A.
Oh,
for
you know
me.
you're cooking.
Yeah, they didn't give up anything. And then the Jazz, I mean, they just got KJ Martin in a 2nd-round pick.
They passed.
Yeah, Danny Ainge.
So C?
More picks.
C.
Yeah, they passed. Like they really didn't have to jump in the deal. They just did.
Yeah. Okay, now Lakers and Hornets trade. The Lakers get Mark Williams, who is cost-controlled, is extension eligible after this year. Mm-hmm. He's a restricted free agent in 2026. The Hornets get Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap. There's been a lot of conversation about this trade where like the Hornets got a haul and they have a ton of picks for the future. I really don't care about that. They haven't shown the ability to draft. They haven't shown the ability to build a roster.
Yep.
So they traded Mark Williams, who I think has so much upside, and with LaMelo and Brandon Miller and all of them healthy, I don't think they ever were able to realize that potential. But they were probably fed up. Mark Williams just wasn't healthy for them and effort issues. I understand that, but I didn't give them like this outstanding grade for trading Mark Williams. This was a C, and I thought the Lakers made out at a B+, and the only reason why it's not an A is because of the injury concerns you have with Mark Williams. That's the only reason why this isn't an A, because I think he has all-star level potential, and I think he has a chance to be one of the most dominant guard and big man duos in the league with Luka Doncic and him involved.
I'm going to respect the Hornets a little bit more just for understanding that getting that 2031 first-round pick, that was pretty firm. Understanding that Mark Will, he showed great upside, but at the same time couldn't stay healthy for you. You're getting concerned. You're not in the business of having an unhealthy player to inevitably let him walk away for nothing. No, you're still able to capitalize that and also get a pick swap in 2030. Getting Dalton Connect, get some spacing around LaMelo Ball. I thought that was an excellent decision there. And then Cam Reddish. That's Riv's boy. Maybe he'll start watching Hornets basketball with me.
I'm here.
He gives you defense. That's
as long
about
as y'all
it.
play him, I'm here.
That's about it. So I'll give them a C+, B-. But as for the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm with you 100%, B+. But why I'm at a B+ is because the Los Angeles Lakers don't have a tradable first-round pick till 2033. That's kind of where we're at, where you're not really able to make any strong power moves unless it is in free agency or in the buyout markets, which I do anticipate the Lakers to be active in. Maybe Bruce Brown is one of the key guys that we go after. Could use a little bit wing depth, especially for the defensive side. But on top of it, Mark Williams hasn't been able to stay on the court, but every other thing that he does for me is positive. Offensively, he's taken a huge jump in his game. The touch around the rim, his ability in a pick and roll is what shines over everything else, and you have arguably the best player in a pick and roll in Luka Doncic leading that offense. Oh, and also the other guy, LeBron James, who's incredible at it too. It's going to be perfect for them on the offensive side. And people raise questions about his defense, his effort. I think it's fair. And you posed this question on Twitter. This season, he's been far from what we've seen in the past. But I think that's where I'm optimistic. He's shown traits to be good in the past, and it's been a huge effort issue where you're on one of the worst teams in the league. Your primary focus and what gets people paid is offense. When you're due for some money and you're going and you're scoring 20 a game, people realize that, and they're willing to cough up money. Defense on a bad team, it moves people, but you're not getting significant real money for that. For the Los Angeles Lakers, his primary goal and his primary job, I should say more than anything, is be great in a pick and roll, but also lock in on defense. I talked about it when we were on Bleacher Report. I'll reiterate it now. I don't anticipate him to be that same dominant offensive force that he was dominant. I think you can argue he was dominant for the Hornets too in his own right, but I think that his primary focus needs to be defense because that's the need that we have. And it's about fulfilling a role with the Los Angeles Lakers right now where we stand. And he'll still have his time to shine. There's just so many mouths to feed offensively. So I'm going to give us a B+, but this upside, it has the potential to be an A+ because of how talented he is.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it's a good deal for both teams. For the Hornets, listen, I think they should be in the business of collecting talent and keeping talent. But when I also look at their three young players that are really part of their core, when it's LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Mark Williams, these are three guys that have not been able to stay healthy. I mean, Brandon Miller this season is probably going to be out for the rest of the year. LaMelo's dealt with injuries his whole career. Same thing with Mark Williams. And I think out of all three of those guys, you're most willing to give up Mark Williams. The deal had to be right. And this isn't like, I understand people like the Lakers fleeced. Oh my God. It's a firm price to pay. Like Dalton Connect, I think is going to be fine for Charlotte. He's a good shooter defensively. He's not special. He's pretty bad, but he's got size. So I think one day he could be a good defender, possibly. The 2031 unprotected first round pick. Unprotected first round picks don't just get flown around. You know, you gotta really give up something to get that. And then also a 2030 pick swap. I know we're living in a world where they have Luka Doncic right now, but you own basically the Lakers' future for 2 of those years. If something happens to Luka, if he stays, if he goes, if injuries happen, you will have 2 years where if something goes wrong for the Lakers, you'll be able to come up on that. Will the Hornets want to swap picks with them? Probably not, because the Hornets have not been able to show anything really that they're going to be a stable organization that can put together a winner. But I think getting that unprotected first round pick at least lets you sleep a little bit better at night. They'll probably get like a B- to a B, just because I don't know if they needed to make that move. For the Lakers, they probably get about a B or a B+. Mark Williams offensively, like you mentioned, Drew, it's a perfect fit. He's a great screener. He's a great vertical threat. He's great offensively. The defense, I think, is what people worry about. And that's my biggest worry with the Lakers right now is what does this team look like defensively? You have Luka, you have LeBron, who I feel like when LeBron does lock in, he can be a good defender. Maybe he's just taking the regular season off. He's like, fuck it, I don't really care. Now that Luka's there, maybe he's got some more incentive and he gets, a bit more revitalized on the defensive side because he wants to win these games since it's a new, fresh piece, top 5 player in the world. But then you have Mark Williams now, who I thought the Lakers were going to go a different route, more defensive minded, who could be a vertical threat. We talked about Nick Claxton. We talked about Rob Williams, who fit that mold a bit better. But there's a chance that either of those guys either weren't available or the asking price was too high. We know that the Brooklyn Nets have wanted the world for guys like Cam Johnson. They waited out for 5-6 round picks for Mikal Bridges. So I would not be surprised if they were like, yeah, we want Connect and Austin Reeves and your 2031 first. And LA's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. For Robert Williams, for whatever reason, didn't work out. But I think the potential for Mark Williams is what you have to be excited for. It's a guy that's 23 years old, and there's no reason why he should be a bad defender. It's a guy that's 7'2", his standing reach is fucking 10 feet tall. He's physical, he's athletic. There's no reason why he should be a bad defender, specifically at the rim as a rim protector. I know just following a couple of Hornets people, one of the bigger issues they've had, especially is when he gets switched onto in pick and roll action. He mostly is just playing like a drop coverage. So if you're expecting him to switch, he's not going to be great for that. Maybe that's just defensive scheme wise. JJ's going to have him play in a deep drop. But that's my biggest concern with the Lakers right now. The offense is going to be amazing. It might be the best offense in basketball when you have Luka, you have Bron, Austin Reeves has having a career year, and Mark Williams has shown in spurts to be a great offensive player. But defensively, I think this team's going to struggle to get stops. I really think this team's going to struggle. You know, Vando is a great defensive piece. DFS is a good defensive piece. But I'm looking at a closing lineup. You really have 3 defenders, if LeBron isn't locked in, that you could probably pick at, that you could probably get into action, potentially 4 with Austin Reeves out there. So their defense does worry me. But all in all, to get a guy Mark Williams' caliber, to get his potential, I think you have to be excited for. So I give him B+.
Yeah, they're probably going to primarily win games off their offense. I give both sides C+, B-. I think Charlotte, I agree, Joel. I think they got a haul, but at the same time, they haven't shown us any competent skills at drafting. So we can't really sit there and say they got these picks. We expect them to. We don't even know what
And they're
2030.
6 years from now.
Yeah, we don't even know what 2030 is going to look like. But nonetheless, you got picks for somebody who's injury prone.
I think that's part of it, though.
Yeah,
Right? It's like you don't know 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's a fact. But
It
Charlotte
could be a top 5 pick.
they've shown us in the past 15 to
not.
20 years. It's like
Yeah, absolutely.
we don't.
It's
Absolutely.
also a gamble. Luka doesn't join, doesn't stay with the Lakers.
That's
Who
a
knows?
fact. Like everything's all a gamble, but they got something back in return. And I think, unfortunately for Charlotte, they didn't want to wait. He's been on the team for about 2 or 3 years. He's been injury prone, unfortunately. For the Lakers, offensively, I don't think that's what they needed. That's why I give him like a C plus B minus. I think you needed a defensive minded center. I think you needed somebody that can kind of anchor the defense. Mark Williams has the potential to do it, but I think right now you're looking at the Lakers, and it's not that your window with LeBron is short. It's not this long, grand, 5-6 year plan. No, realistically, it's probably like a 2-3 year window. You need Mark to be ready to be good now. And you have to bank on his injury history. You have to bank on his defense. You have to bank on his rim protected, and that's something that J.J. Redick's going to have to fix up, which is why I give it a C, because the potential is there offensively, but that's kind of not what you need. Like you mentioned, Dehls, they're probably Reeves, Luka, LeBron are going to be in those closing lineups. You need a center out there. You need somebody that can give you quality minutes. Mark Williams has to be ready to anchor that defense, and you're probably only going to be able to play DFS or Vando, probably DFS because he's a much better three-point shooter. So now you're sitting there looking at that lineup, a lot of guys you can pick on, a lot of guys you can exploit, which is why Mark Williams being able to anchor that defense is going to be important. It's going to be huge down the stretch. So that's going to be the big thing. The potential is there. Can he reach it is going to be a question. Because the offense, I don't think, even if he wasn't this high prolific offensive player, Luka and LeBron are going to be able to pump out 10 or 12 points from him anyways. They're going to be a high-powered offense. So that part doesn't matter. The most important part is the defensive side, which is where he's going to have to do most of his groundwork. So C+, B- for both teams. I think both teams got what they wanted. In a sense, Lakers got a young player they can build with Luka. The Hornets got rid of a guy who unfortunately just haven't been healthy for them.
Can I ask you a question, though? Because the statement was that you need him to be good now.
Defensively, yes.
23 years old. We are all in the mindset that the Lakers are building this team, not for LeBron, for Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but you want to still win with LeBron.
Trust me, I am a Laker fan because of LeBron James. I want Mark to be good right now, but I'm trying to take a step back. Think of the lens for the Los Angeles Lakers. He becomes a restricted free agent at the end of 2026. So you have from the rest of the season to the end of next year with him and Luka Doncic for him to really grow as a player, both offensively and defensively. It would be incredible if from here to the rest of the season and next that Mark Williams just figures out defense. He's back to his rookie ways, and he's one of the best defensive bigs that there are to offer. But realistically, at the age of 23 years old, you give up your 2031 first-round pick. This was a move for the future. We're planning to have Mark Will be potentially our franchise center. That's kind of how all in they are on this type of move.
Traded 2 first-round picks.
Mark Williams has that upside to be that for the Los Angeles Lakers.
For sure.
But with Luka Doncic and him, how they're both so incredible in a pick-and-roll offense and a pick-and-roll situation, this isn't a move for LeBron. This is really a move for Luka.
I mean, you don't know if Luka's going to stay. That's
that
the thing.
I agree with, but both of them are free agents at the same time.
Yeah, but that's why I think Mark's ascension is so important, because if he doesn't make the proper shot, like offensively, he can get as much better as you want, but the most important thing for a center will always be defense.
I don't disagree at all.
So if in most areas, honestly, but so if you are Mark Williams, you're sitting there thinking, or with Luka, if they don't make the proper assortments to get better, you're sitting there like, well, damn, I'm in free agency. We traded 2 firsts for Mark Williams. He hasn't made the strides to get better. LeBron retired. We can't really get anybody.
I don't disagree.
Now I'm sitting there like, well, I have no loyalty anymore. The team that I was most loyal to traded me and didn't even tell me anything.
This is fair.
I think the Lakers have a pretty dangerous lineup. They already have size with the starting lineup they have now, but in the closing lineup, if they want more size, Luka, LeBron, DFS, Rui, and Mark Williams, I think that gives them a lot of size, and I think that's going to be a lot of trouble for teams in the West. And Mark Williams, I think, will figure it out eventually. The Hornets fans, they have seen him play, and I'm going to take their word for it that he's not a good defender. He's not a good rim protector. what I'm gonna be looking at is how he looks on the Lakers, because right now I don't give a damn how he looked on the Hornets. I just want to know how he looked on the Lakers, and from this point moving forward, that's how I'm gonna properly evaluate him, and that's how the Lakers are gonna evaluate him. But I just think this bet against Luka Doncic is incredibly disrespectful.
Who's betting against Luka?
I'm not saying it's you, but I'm saying number one, the Dallas Mavericks getting the 2029 first round pick back for him,
let him cook.
is a bet against Luka that, number one, the Lakers aren't going to be good 4 years from now. The first round picks that the Hornets got are bets that they might not be good 6 years from now, 5 years from now. And I think that is just incredibly disrespectful. Luka's a loyal guy.
That's a great way to look at it.
It's not a bet against Luka.
It's not
It kind of is. It's a bet against Luka.
It's a bet against the Lakers.
The 29th.
And who's the Lakers led by?
Who's the franchise?
They just drafted Derek Lively in the lottery. They
you're-
just did that.
you're
He was
acting-
hurt.
you're
The
acting
Mavericks,
like-
he just missed the
You're acting like
playoffs.
Luka just signed a supermax to the Lakers. If he would have signed the supermax, then you have this. Okay, that's valid.
Dehls.
We don't know. He could
We
still
don't know
go.
what happens in 20.
Luka is an incredibly loyal guy.
He is.
I think he's gonna stay with the Lakers long term.
Loyalty is shot. We don't know what he is.
I
at this
think
moment.
he's staying with the Lakers long term.
I
think what the
also
Mavericks.
think he's gonna stay with the Lakers.
I think what the Mavericks did was an anomaly. Trading a franchise star like that, it's never happened in NBA history
I
at
agree.
this age.
But that's
It's
why
never
we can't.
happened.
That's why we can't just say, "Oh, he's gonna stay," because this is. Some
I believe
shit
he's going to
that's
stay because
never happened.
it's more likely that the Lakers get another co-star to play alongside Luka than Luka leaving elsewhere.
I don't hate
It's
that-
the
I don't hate
Lakers.
that
They're
opinion.
going to manage to get somebody, and I
There's
think.
so many draft picks.
And I mean, you're right, but next year they'll have more to trade in the future.
Another first round.
They'll
Well,
have one draft
we
pick to
have
trade.
26, we have 28, we have 30. Well, not 30.
you can't
picks
trade
are.
back-to-back picks.
You can't exactly what I'm saying. We have players that we can draft with these
yes,
picks.
exactly.
But
And-
again, we're banking on Luka. Those are going to be 25 or later.
And I won't be too mad.
No doubt,
Lord.
but you can draft good players in
Look
that
at what Rob
range.
Lincoln's done with late draft picks.
All I'm saying
my
is that
GM.
I
Respect
think,
him, please.
I think Luka will stay with the Lakers.
Praying for
And the last time that Luka had this sort of
Be careful what you wish
motivation,
for, buddy.
when the Mavericks missed the playoffs and everybody was throwing those jokes, he had his best career season and led a team to the NBA Finals
no
the
ring.
very next year.
Talk.
No ring.
Now coming off that Finals
Tatum will
appearance,
never have a season like that ever in his life.
he gets traded.
Got carried.
I don't think we're prepared to see how Luka is about to
He's
dominate.
spitting. He's fucking
Luka is
talking.
about to dominate.
He's talking. What's
I
wrong with what
promise
he's
you.
saying?
Bro,
He's about to dominate.
Who gives a
Yo, the
fuck
narrative on like
about
the pick
this
shit,
revenge
he got
narrative
it. That was
arc that
I
you're
do.
trying to
That
build?
I
Luka
do.
motivating
do.
because of the picks.
Oh,
Bro,
That was
I do.
wicked.
What is Luka gonna show me? That he can average 34? I know he can do that. That he's a high potent generational offensive player? I know he can do that. So what is this whole
It's going to another level.
spin narrative thing?
Riv, he's averaging 45.
Unless this man turns into an elite stout defender, there's nothing he can show
His
me that I
defensive
don't
stats
stats
say?
have been
What
good.
does the stats say?
They've been good this year. And I think he's going to get into better shape with the Lakers. He's going to become
I don't think he's
a
ever
better
been in
defender.
bad shape for real. So
Spitting.
like what you're
No,
like,
I don't think Luka has ever been in bad shape.
He's never been in good shape.
I don't think he's been
He's
in
about to be in
the
LeBron shape.
tip top.
No,
the
he's come in
best shape
overweight
he
at
could
times,
ever
for
be.
sure. He's come in
and
overweight
I
at
think
times.
with LeBron showing him the ropes, having that motivation
Damn right.
of proving the Mavericks
right.
wrong, I think we're gonna get the best
Hey,
player in the
why
world.
LeBron
He's gonna
show
be
can't
the-
register
He's gonna be
ropes,
the
Riv?
best player in the world.
He's already arguably top 3 in the world.
And now he's gonna
There's
take
another
2 more
level to go
jumps.
to. There's
Bro,
another level to
dude.
go to.
I get it. Listen, I get it. I get it. You know, I get
I don't
it.
get it,
What-
Riv.
what-
I don't know.
No, I get it. He left. He got traded. You feel for him. That's big bro. You know, you're emotionally attached to him.
That's just bro.
You have to
Same here.
create this whole revenge
It is
arc
just
thing
bro.
in the mind, so you can feel like, yeah, this is the year. But brother, you don't got to convince us. We don't have to do all that, bro.
I'm just saying, all the trades signal that these teams are kind of betting against the Lakers being good in the future. That's what it is, especially the Mavericks.
All they had was literally those picks to
no,
give.
but the Mavericks trading Luka is a bet
Well, the
against
Mavericks-
him.
No, the
Mavericks
Mavericks
are fucking dumb.
It's Nico Harris. He's the fucking idiot.
Nico Harrison is
literally-
betting against Luka Doncic.
We all
and
think
that
it-
is
Hey,
all
Joel,
the motivation
if you
Luka
really
needs.
want, if you
That's
really
all
want the
Luka
agenda,
needs.
Luka don't
the
give a
people-
fuck about Nico.
He's
He's a
capping. That's a
killer.
lie. That's a lie.
He cares.
That's a lie.
He cares about
He
proving
has
them
his
wrong.
name written in his
Luka has
notebook, and he's
Luka-
going to stare at it before
Luka
every
has-
single
definitely
fucking
cares
game.
about fucking Dallas
Luka
for
has-
sure. He
Dallas.
wants to. He wants
Dallas.
to.
That February 25th game.
No, he wants
He's
to kill.
going for
But,
100.
Like, nobody, bro. Y'all sitting here like nobody, bro. We all understand Nico's an idiot. The
It's literally the world that's come together and acknowledged Nico Harrison is an idiot.
I really don't think that the defense is going to be that much of a problem this year. I don't.
Of course you don't.
I don't.
You just ignored everything about Mark
Also,
Williams' bad
hold on,
defense in Charlotte.
hold on. Don't you think? Come on, you think I wasn't going to say these stats? Over our last 11 games, our defense has been good.
Oh, it has
JJ
been.
Redick, it legitimately has been really good, and 2 of these games have also
You don't
been
trust
without
JJ
Anthony
Redick to pick up
Davis.
some defensive schemes? I do.
I mean,
The last 11 games were third.
Drew
in
told me this month was the easiest month for them also.
He's right.
Their schedule has been
got
kind
it.
of late. They had
He got
Boston
it.
in there.
That's a great counterpoint.
At some point, we
No,
have to
the
just.
fa- yo,
He told me that
Can
too.
I also say this?
He said that
Riv,
to me.
Riv, I just want to say this man to man. You couldn't let me say the stats first before you said that.
It's his fault.
Like, that's fucked up.
Context.
fault.
What's wrong with context?
I will
I didn't
say,
even know the context that Drew told me in the car. He told me
because I did say at the start of the month, we need to dominate this
Yeah.
month.
Well,
And
you guys have played Boston and the Knicks. Those have been your best 2 opponents.
And the Clippers.
And the Clippers,
And the
too.
Clippers.
Yeah.
But we had some dog shit in there too. We
Yeah,
had
yeah.
the we had the
What's
Spurs a couple
Clippers' offensive
times.
rating these days?
We had
It's not
the,
good.
we had
but
Washington.
they're a good team.
There's
All right,
because
regardless-
defense they're carried.
Regardless, let's spread agendas. Here we go. In the last 11 games, 3rd best defensive rating in the NBA, 2nd best opponent points per game, and the best opponent field goal percentage. Our defense has been good, but against the Knicks, against the Celtics, against the Clippers.
Amazing.
The Knicks one is a good one, though.
No, those are 3.
Yeah,
Listen, those
yeah,
are 3
yeah.
high
Name
pro.
3
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
teams.
3 high profile teams.
I mean, listen,
The Clippers offense has been due. It's been mid. But
I don't know the number with Kawhi, so I can't.
the team
you would be
is like
surprised
24.
if the Lakers made the finals
You know why I wouldn't be surprised?
because it's Luka
What?
revenge tour.
And can you just also
It would be
like, you
LeBron-
say Luka, but like
Luka-
I need LeBron.
Luka
there
and
too
LeBron would
because
have to go like
it's
this, but I
Luka
could see
and
it.
LeBron.
I could see
like
it.
that's really why
You'd
you
be
shouldn't
surprised
be surprised.
if they did it though. Like I feel like that's where the disconnect is. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they did it.
Where
I
are they-
think you'd be surprised if they
I'd
did
be surprised they didn't make the WCF. I think that's the floor for them.
You have them as a 3rd best team in the West.
Yeah.
Yo, this doesn't make
Hey, hold
sense
on.
to me.
No, it
This
does.
is what-
It does.
No,
It
no,
does.
no, it
What
doesn't.
did we
No,
talk
no.
about in the car?
No,
I said there's
no.
only one team
No,
I fear.
you two talked about it.
No, but
Drew.
but I said they're the
Drew.
3rd best team.
Drew.
But I don't fear OKC.
It's not, no.
I fear the Nuggets.
No. We're not about to change what we're saying. It's not a fear thing. I don't give a fuck
We
who
can
you
beat
fear.
OKC.
I think you can. He said said the Lakers are the 3rd best team.
I agree.
That's fine.
OKC has a better roster.
We all agree with that
Mavericks would
sentiment.
beat them.
So
Lakers.
He's saying the
I mean,
Mavericks
my
would
bad.
beat OKC.
I'm thinking Luka's throwing them out. No, the Lakers would beat them.
okay,
Mavs fan
if you
just started
believe
crying
that,
somewhere.
that's fine. But to sit here and say they're the 3rd best team, yet if they don't make the finals, you would
I
be
said
shocked.
WCF.
He said WCF.
WCF, but you're gonna have to run into one of those 2 teams.
Maybe, possibly not. Possibly you will. But if they run into anybody but Denver, I think they make the
Yo,
finals.
but what version of Jamal
WCF,
Murray are we
sorry.
getting in the playoffs?
Against that defense, the one-on-ones. Who's guarding him?
DFS.
I don't know. They fucking beat you on 5 last year.
Jamal Murray
was
played
not-
amazing.
Yeah, and then the next series he did not.
They didn't have Luka.
I know, but I'm saying Jamal Murray did not play out of his fucking
So, I
like
guess
he
it
was
turns-
not
Luka turns
the
into 6?
finals version of
Luka
Jamal.
is the ultimate
Lakers winning in
ceiling
6?
raiser.
So is the Joker.
No,
He's
but
the
I'm
best
just
player in
saying.
the
I'm
world.
just saying. Anthony
Yes,
Davis
it's
is not.
fucked up.
Anthony Davis was great though in that series.
Anthony Davis was really great.
But I don't think he's a ceiling raiser. Luka is.
Who's better in the playoffs last year? Anthony Davis that series or Luka in any of the 3 rounds?
whoa,
was
versus the
better.
Timberwolves.
Luka was the best player in the playoffs last year.
Oh my god, he was so mad.
Was he?
Statistically,
He led everybody in points, rebounds, assists.
No.
Statistically, he was.
We're not asking about just the bland. Oh my God, points per game.
And he
rebounds,
dominated
assists.
when he needed to dominate
Against
Be-
Minnesota.
What about the finals?
okay,
the games versus the Clippers, he had a few moments.
That's what I'm saying.
Would
The
you say he
Clippers-
had to dominate in the finals? Because he didn't dominate in the finals.
No, he didn't.
He's getting
Okay.
so
The Clippers,
overrated.
the
making
Clip,
sure.
and we'll get to that. in a bit.
47%
Don't worry.
from the
We'll get
field,
to that.
29 points per
No,
game.
no.
What about the 3?
No, don't
Almost
worry.
3 steals a game.
I'll get to that.
Threes.
I'll get to that. Don't worry.
47% from the
I'll get
field.
to that. Don't worry.
It's not gonna be right now, but I will get to that.
27%.
The Clippers. He started off the season.
played well
He started
against
off the
Clippers.
series slow, but to close out the series, he dominated.
He played well.
For
I'll take
versus
played well.
OKC. A little bit
okay.
slow.
Once everyone got hurt.
He dominated
He was
the last
okay.
2 games.
He was
PJ
okay.
Washington.
Yes.
The closeout, he
PJ
was great.
Washington, thank
played
you.
And
well.
then the Mavs series, he dominated. I mean, the Timberwolves
Yeah,
series,
that was
he
his
dominated
best
every
series
game.
by
Yeah, and then he
far.
was dog
Minnesota.
shit in the finals. Pretty
Yeah,
bad.
but Luka.
47% from the field.
He was bad.
What did JT shoot? 41?
We all watched that series. He was bad.
My
Yeah,
God.
he was bad. It's okay. It's like literally okay.
47%.
Like we went up there and said he had one of the most embarrassing defensive performances in NBA.
He wasn't
Yeah,
as bad as
his defense
Tatum's
is
first
dog shit.
final series.
No shot.
No, Tatum. This is the thing though. Tatum was just bad. Luka was embarrassing.
Tatum in his,
Calm down.
Tatum has played in
Tatum was
2.
dog shit.
Tatum has played in 2 NBA finals.
Tatum was dog shit.
Tatum has played in 2 NBA finals where he
Yeah.
averages 21 points per game in those
No,
2
yeah,
NBA
Tatum
He's
was
got a ring.
dog shit in the first
Yo,
one.
calm down. That fucking ring bullshit doesn't move me. It doesn't move me.
Now
Now it's the Lakers. That
Mr.
shit
Lead
really
the team
doesn't
in
move
points,
me.
rebounds, assists. Tatum led the team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals,
Stop with that
everything.
bullshit, bro.
Hold on, got it.
God damn.
He led his team. Luka led every player in the playoffs.
And lost.
Yeah, he
played the most
Tatum
games.
has a better team.
Luka played the most games.
Yeah,
in
I mean, the
playoffs.
Celtics lost what? 3 games in the
Should I
in the
make it
playoffs?
nasty? So just because LeBron James lost in 2007 against the way superior Spurs team,
They
that's
were
a,
close.
that's
Well,
a-
no,
every game.
he picked the Mavericks.
that's an-
I don't know if
Riv,
you would have taken
even,
the Spurs.
Even with
you
Luka
know?
playing the most games, Luka averaged more points, rebounds, and assists than Tatum in the entire playoffs.
Oh no, I'm not talking about them too. Like,
Yeah.
Luka's better. You're not gonna get.
I mean, obviously he's better.
No, he's not. He's pretty bad, I think.
Okay.
We'll see.
What did
Like,
the defensive numbers say this season, Joel?
I don't give a fuck
He's
about no
good.
defensive numbers.
Yeah, you guys are sick.
And he was
It's
good.
actually
He was
insane.
good
Like,
on defense
you
the
guys are
entire
sick.
playoffs outside of the finals because he was playing hurt. He had multiple injuries.
So when Jason Tatum was good in the playoffs up until the finals, that's bad. But when
wasn't
Luka
good
does,
in the
it's
first
good.
round.
Yeah, well, I was saying the first
Who the
finals. For the
fuck
second
cares
finals
about the
too.
Heat series?
No, that first finals run, he was incredible.
was Tatum even good in the Cavs series?
Except
He
for
was
the
up
finals.
and down.
He was good.
He was good.
The Cavs series
Overall, the numbers were good.
What was it? The best series was the Pacers for him.
Pacers, yeah, he had like a
Statistically?
30, 11, 5 something.
No, but Tatum, his first finals run was bad in the finals. Rounds 1, 2, and 3, he was sex on.
He was
a string.
amazing, and that's why I was very high on him.
Tatum had a wrist injury in the finals.
We do not.
I'll take that
care.
into
I
account.
didn't know that.
He
No, he
did.
did.
Yeah, he came out that he did ever since.
I'll take that
He
into
said that in the
account.
summer.
Ah, shit.
I don't care.
Luka had a
Yo, has
bloody
that
knee
wrist
every
injury
game.
stayed with him because that jump shot's
He
broken?
never got.
Zing.
You guy's an idiot. Ring.
Now let's talk about this, Riv. I'm excited to talk about this. The Cavaliers and the Hawks made a trade. The Cavaliers
when
got
did- yeah.
Oh, we're
DeAndre
moving on.
Hunter.
Thank God.
The Hawks got Karis LeVert, Niang, 2 pick swaps, and 3 second-round
Yeah,
picks.
we don't care.
Now let's talk about the Cavaliers.
Yeah, no, let's talk because I have a question.
Your new team. We just smoked them 2 nights ago.
Hey.
He's cooking.
Hey, don't bring that energy to him because I didn't let him in yet.
No, this is not my team.
No,
I
he's
just
allowed to
think
bring
they're.
it.
You're staring at me when we're talking about
I
them.
think they're a great team.
They are a great team.
It's Knicks tape all day.
Yeah,
the
stay
Cavaliers
over.
are a great team.
Yeah, stay over
When was the
there.
last time you said Knicks tape?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
You posted. Wait a minute. Wait the fuck a minute. You bet on the Cavs to come off the East.
A decent
and
amount
you're-
of money,
And
too.
you're a Knicks fan.
He's
He's
crazy.
a sicko, bro. Yo, Knicks,
I'm gonna bet on the Knicks too.
you bet on them second.
I mean, they're probably like plus 5,000. They're not doing shit.
There's more doubts on the Knicks.
Yeah, they're not doing shit.
That's your team.
Yo, bro.
Yeah, but there's more
Respectfully.
doubts with their roster.
I mean,
And
make
I
more money.
think- and I
Make
think
bucks,
that-
man.
Saturday.
And I think the Cavaliers are more advanced in the process of team building
we're
than the
better than
Knicks. The Knicks.
Whoa.
Here's what I'm gonna say. You gotta let me finish. The Knicks just made 2 big moves to get Cat and Mikal.
Talk.
The Cavaliers made those big moves 2 years ago.
The Knicks were well behind the 8 ball, and once Leon got into the building, he started expediting.
What I'm saying is that Garland, Mitchell, Allen, and Mobley now have had 3 seasons to play together.
This is their third, yes.
This is Cat and Brunson's first year. This is Mikal's first year with them.
Garland got drafted the same year as Zion and RJ.
Yes.
Yeah, he
So that
in the
was
draft.
20.
But he didn't play. He's been here for a while.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. Garland has
Him
it's
and
20
Mold and Jared been together the longest.
for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Mitchell, the big piece that they added.
But I was saying, Jalen Brunson came to the Knicks 3 years ago. Karl Anthony Towns just got there.
That's what I'm
OG
saying.
got there, but I'm saying they had to do all of this because the last regime put him in hell.
The fact that they did it so quick, though.
We're not.
That's where I'm giving Leon his flowers.
This is the disconnect that we're at right now. The Knicks haven't played as long together as the Cavaliers. I think the Cavaliers have built some natural chemistry together, which
2-1
is why
against them, by the
they're
way.
they're the first seed in the East right now.
dick,
where the
bro.
Knicks, I think what the Knicks are doing is impressive because this is the first year they're together
We also have a new
and they're a
coach.
top 3 team in the East. That's why I'm not upset
Number 1 seed
that they
bitch.
didn't make any trades
Brunson
at the
MVP.
deadline.
Only like 4 games. Getting closer.
because the Knicks, I think they have a couple of years to get this right, and I think they got a couple of years to build out this roster through free agency and make some trades. So I think this is our first year. Do I still have high expectations for them? Absolutely. I think that the ceiling for us is the conference finals. If everything goes right, maybe the NBA finals. But no, I think the Knicks right now, this is their first year playing
stand this
together, and I
disrespect.
think it's been a mightily successful season.
Great
But
for
the
playoff
Cavaliers
defense.
have
Can we
been
talk about
together
DeAndre
longer.
Hunter? Can we
Not-
talk
yes,
about
let's
DeAndre
talk about DeAndre Hunter because
man.
I mean,
Talk about the fucking
number
Knicks.
one, I want to thank you, Dehls, and the reason I want to thank Dehls is because over the past couple of podcast episodes, you've actually been convincing me to bet against the Celtics.
You should.
Because, you know,
He was playing 5D chess.
all year long, you know, I was scared of the Celtics. Who's going to beat them?
You said we're going to repeat.
Are they really good? Yeah, I was scared. Again, repeat. I'm getting in Celtics' good side because I'm talking about Tatum in a very positive light.
Pussies.
But then, you know, Dehls is watching the
y'all last year.
Celtics, and he's giving me these details about how poorly they play in certain moments, the shooting slumps.
They almost lost to
And,
the Nets.
Yeah, Dehls has been convincing me that, hey, this isn't the year for the Celtics. And then I went back and I looked at the history of NBA teams, and it's pretty difficult to repeat and go back to back.
for sure.
And the Celtics are in a very similar light to how we viewed the Nuggets last year, where we didn't think anybody could possibly beat the Nuggets, and they ended up losing to the Timberwolves. I think the Cavs would beat the Celtics in the playoff series. And I think DeAndre Hunter was a needle mover for the Cavaliers because he's a wing that gives them shooting, shot creation in the mid-range. He
Tatum
can handle
averages
the ball.
28 against them.
And yeah, but
He won't
Evan
be guarding
Mobley will
Tatum.
be guarding him. And talk about the playoff series stats against Mobley versus Tatum defensively. Talk about that. Do you have them? Talk about that.
9
Talk
for
about that.
24 when he's
9 for
guarding him.
24.
4-1.
Talk about
And
that.
what did Jaylen Brown do?
4-1.
We have
Is that the
DeAndre
playoffs?
Hunter.
No, I'm just asking. What did Jaylen Brown do?
Played really well.
Oh, he cooked.
I think
4-1.
Forget I can't
I think the
defend him anymore.
He missed
Cavaliers
play.
Yo,
have
Start
something.
defending Jaylen Brown, please. I can't.
I think the
anymore.
Cavaliers
know
have
the stats are
something
4-1. That's
very
all.
He missed him play.
special. I think the Cavaliers this year, the chemistry and the way they play together is very special.
can't they beat the
And
Celtics?
they will beat the Celtics. Is what I'm saying. And
4-2
I
series,
really
that's what it sounds
believe
like.
in this Cavaliers team. Like, I know it's the Celtics, it's the mighty
They had 2
bad
games at home.
Celtics. And listen, they get respect. They're an awesome team. But I think the Cavaliers, what they got going on this season, the chemistry they have this season, I think it's enough to beat the Celtics. And I think the DeAndre Hunter move was really good. And people will talk about the defense, but according to B-Ball Index, he has an A- perimeter defense grade. And I think him playing with Mobley and Jared Allen behind him is going to make him a better defender. I was looking at those highlights of Tatum taking Hunter off
Couple
the
of them were
dribble.
really bad.
And for sure, Tatum has a speed and agility
he's amazing.
advantage over DeAndre Hunter. There's no doubt about it. You know what I also saw?
Mm.
Once Tatum got past him, there was no line of defense in the back
Clint
line.
Capella.
That will not be the same with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley playing. And listen, I think this past season, the playoff series we got between those two, it wasn't fair. Jared Allen didn't play. Porzingis didn't play. Donovan Mitchell got hurt. So I think if they face off this year, it would be a fair matchup, and I hope they're both healthy. But no, I think the Cavaliers got something special going on this year, and I'm betting on them. I'm betting on them.
Can you argue? You don't know if you're going to get a healthy Cavalier team?
That's
what
a
they've shown
possibility.
the last few seasons is that they are an unhealthy group.
But I think if they are healthy, they can do it. And I think the biggest reason for it is not DeAndre Hunter. I just want to make that clear. The biggest reason is not DeAndre Hunter. I just feel like they desperately needed a wing without sacrificing something, because Isaac Okoro gives you defense, but you sacrifice shooting. And any other player that they inserted at that wing spot, you sacrifice something. There was a one-dimensionality to their game. I think the Cavaliers got a shot this year because I think Evan Mobley has taken a serious leap. I think he's taken a leap to the point where he can dominate a series like that. And I'm very high on Evan Mobley. I think that's the
Always loved
biggest
Evan Mobley.
reason. The biggest reason is Evan Mobley and the
Donovan
leap that
Mitchell,
he
too.
has taken.
He's a Mets fan. That's the reason.
You did say that,
But
too.
yes, I think this trade for the Cavaliers was an A. I think it was an A.
Well, me being the Cavs guy.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up? Talk to me, brother.
As the Cavs guy,
Yes.
how do we feel about this?
I think it's interesting. I thought we were gonna have some words being he's the Knicks guy. Cavs were back.
I thought this would be fun.
Yeah.
Cavs, Knicks,
Knicks,
Boston.
Knicks.
We all got.
They beat
you know
us,
what I mean?
and
We
we're
all
trying to get
got
our
a
lit
team.
back. But he's on the
Listen,
Cavs.
we've had the upper hand the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's on.
we play them. It's food.
He's on. Not this year, bro.
This is not the same team that the Cavs were 2 years ago.
I'm not going to disagree
Now we
with
take
you.
advantage of shit like that.
Now we don't have playoff
Like 2 years ago,
Julius.
was it Danny Green that was like getting their starting small forward minutes?
I think it was a Coral.
I thought it was Okoro.
Danny Green played like heavy minutes in that.
He did. I like this move. I really like DeAndre Hunter's defense isn't that great, but offensively he gives you a lot more than what you get from your wings. So it's a good move. They didn't really give up anything to get DeAndre Hunter. Like Karis LeVert's been playing really great, but I think DeAndre Hunter is better. George Niang's a really good shooter, but you know we already have that on the team. Yeah, he's. Oh, excuse me. There we go. So but DeAndre Hunter essentially got him for nothing. I think it's a good move. I think I'll give it a B+ just because I thought we would be able to get a wing defender that can also shoot the 3-ball, but nonetheless, getting DeAndre Hunter. I hope we keep him off the bench because he's been really good in that role. Keep Max Strus starting. Keep that high intensity. In terms of just us versus Boston, listen, they're going to be a tough outing. But I think the first advantage is getting home court advantage. I think that is the first advantage.
normally I'd agree with you. Boston has been dog shit at home, and they've been the best road team in basketball.
We've been the best home team in basketball.
That's
That's
fair.
you know
Hey,
what I'm saying? I think
I
if
know, you beat us at home.
if we have a game 7. No, you beat us twice on the road. That's what it is.
Oh, is that we lost in Boston?
You lost. Oh no, it was the first
Game was that in Boston?
was
I
in
don't remember.
Boston.
They're 20-6 on the road though.
So their wings that series was Azaga Kuro, Danny Green, and Seti Osman.
Yeah.
Those were the ones who got the most minutes for them.
Not great. Just in terms of a matchup versus Boston, listen, we have the Twin Towers down there that I think give them a bit of a mismatch problem. I don't think DeAndre Hunter will be guarding Tatum, but if he does, you have Mobley, you have Allen for backline defense. That's the best you can get in the business right now, arguably in the East. Of course, you got them boys over there in OKC, but just the continuity we have right now, just the way Kenny Atkinson has those boys playing, just the way they've just been able to flow. I hope DeAndre can come in and cannot really change anything. You know, they can keep that pace going. They can bring him in, and everything could just be going great. The Cavs have taken that approach of every game we take serious. Every game we're going to come out. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to play our style. And it's nothing that they're doing that's too advanced. It's really just Garland, Mitchell, constant pick and rolls, constant finding the mismatch, constantly finding shooters. Evan Mobley gets to handle the ball. He gets to find his mismatch. You hit the guy on the roll, then you hit another guy on the drop pass or in the corner. It's very simple basketball, but it works so well because how quick they move the ball and how, you know, together they are as a unit. And I think the Cavs are just at a different mode right now. They have a different mindset. And you're not just banking on Evan Mobley, you know, you're banking on Garland to be really good in the playoffs too. Because if those two guys aren't good, you have no shot of being Boston. You know, even if just you get Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, I still don't think you have a shot of being Boston. You need all 4 guys to be on go against Boston and the Knicks too, because I feel like this team is going to be heavily rely on those 4 guys. But you have DeAndre Hunter now. I think this was a B+, A- move. It's another guy that can bring you some potent offense to this team that can come off the bench. And right now, the Cavs are sitting here, number 1 seed in the East. I think number 1 seed in the league. I think they got the spot back again. They're just playing high-level basketball right now, and you got to love what they're doing. I do think this is the year, and I was adamant before the deadline, you have to capitalize on this team because you might not ever get this team again. You might not ever get the same vibe again. You might not get the same continuity. You might not come out and play the same way. We just saw 2 years ago, Darius Garland play like all-star, and then last year broke his jaw, play like shit. So, you know, anything can happen at any moment. You never know. You got to take advantage of this. I think they did with this DeAndre Hunter move. They found him available. I think they made the deal within like an hour. So, dope for them. Good move. You bring in another wing. And, you know, I love this team. I think this team can go really far. It's ECF or bust for them. It's ECF and losing like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You can't go out.
losing 4 or
you
5.
can't go out losing 4 or 5. It has to be like to the buzzer, like
to your
game
point,
6.
though, I think what helps them is the fact that getting that number 1 seed, Boston and the Knicks, they're going to play each other in the second round.
Yep.
That's going to be a very hard-fought series. And the
See,
Cavaliers,
we'll see who wins.
the Cavaliers being able to get an easier matchup in the second round, I think, could be a big advantage to them heading into the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'll say this. How much better is Cam Johnson to DeAndre Hunter?
We can't sleep on Milwaukee though.
No, you can't.
No, you
I
can't.
think actually getting DeAndre Hunter was better than getting Cam Johnson. Because Cam
Significantly.
Johnson is a great 3-point shooter, but
Is it better for them?
I
Yes.
want to say this, not just better for them, but value-wise, what you would have had to give up
facts.
to get Cam Johnson as opposed to what you actually gave up to get DeAndre Hunter.
And Hunter's a better defender too.
Then Cam, you think so?
Yeah.
He's a lot more physical.
Cam Johnson is like a 70 overall perimeter defender. I think Hunter's like an 80.
Are you using 2K?
I'm just using numbers on the scale.
7 out of 10 out of 10.
Confused me a little
I
bit.
would
It's not their official 2K.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like,
No,
did
no.
you get
Like,
that on
that's
video?
just-
and
on my
maybe DeAndre Hunter isn't as efficient as Cam Johnson's been this
takes different
season.
shots.
Efficient,
He takes
But
different
he's been
shots.
excellent regardless in his own right, still shooting 39%
Yep.
from 3.
He's been
He's
a-
awesome. I think this was an amazing move for the Cavaliers. Honestly, I'm leaning towards an A+, honestly. This was a move in the margins that didn't cost you an arm and a leg, and you were able to improve. You were able to capitalize on this championship window that you have. You've been the best team in the Eastern Conference all season long. Yeah, you've fallen short against Boston 2 of the 3 times that you've played, but regardless, every other team you go up against, you've dominated.
They've been close games too.
They've been, like you
It's always a classic when we play them fucking bums.
I think they're always
We were
going to be
like
close
20 in the
games.
third, made it
the
close.
one game
That
that the Cavaliers and the Knicks played was a 6-point game. Brunson didn't have his best performance by any means. They were able to come away with a close one. But regardless, these top 3-4 teams, it's going to be great series in the Eastern Conference. But for this move alone, you needed a move that was in the margins that could still elevate you. This was exactly that, especially for this price. As for the Atlanta Hawks, I hate that I saw them in the light of being sellers for the idea that they didn't have their first round pick unprotected to the San Antonio Spurs. I
don't think they drop off a terrible amount though.
I just think you lose Jalen Johnson, you lose DeAndre Hunter.
It's like an F for them. I'm gonna be
Jesus
honest.
I don't think
Christ.
so.
I think it's an F because you got worse and you don't have your pick.
But I don't think they got a ton worse.
You got 2 seconds. You got Khris
this-
LeVert, who's
They
a good
definitely got
basketball
worse,
player.
but end of season, I don't think it changes much because
Yeah.
the East is so bad. There'll probably be like a play and exit.
like this
either
season-
way.
I think the Hawks are dropping out of the play-in.
This season, DeAndre Hunter has been that much better than Khris LeVert.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Khris LeVert.
He's been good though.
They're both
No.
been really good.
Yeah, I think
the
Khris
defense
LeVert,
though for
I don't think DeAndre Hunter's been that good of a defender.
LeVert just gives him
Well,
another
he's shown you the
initiator.
Who's
on
offense.
taking the
offense.
spot over the Hawks? Like the Sixers, I'll give you that.
yes.
Probably not though. I wouldn't even bet on them. I'll be
Even still,
Yo, fake the Raptors.
They shouldn't.
they're 7 games behind them right now.
When does BI come back?
That's a good
That's the
question.
thing. Everybody's like her. I think the Hawks, Khris LeVert gives them another initiator, and I think that can help alleviate the pressure off of Trae Young, and we can start seeing Trae maybe get back to league average or better efficiency.
it's not happening.
I think the shots that he takes is a big reason why he's not efficient, but LeVert can take a lot off his plate. I just really like this for the Cavaliers. The Hawks are kind of stuck in this no man's land mode. It's unfortunate that Jalen Johnson got hurt because I think they would have been much better if he had been healthy. But no, the Cavaliers, I just think there's a little bit something to them. And trading away Khris LeVert and Niang, you now open up minutes, not only for Hunter because he's going to start, obviously, but now you open up minutes for Ty Jerome. And I think that's huge because Ty Jerome, you can argue, has been just as good as Khris LeVert. Like, there have been so many games this year where he enters the game and he's their spark plug. And he just changes the pace and the flow of the game. So I think opening up more rotation minutes for him can also make them a better team.
Last thing I want to say about Atlanta, it pains me to say this because obviously he means so much to this team. You should have traded Trae Young at the deadline. You should have
They
traded
tried to.
to
There's
the
a report
Spurs.
that came out that they was gonna trade him to the Spurs, but then the Fox deal came up.
And I understand where the Spurs are coming from. Cheaper price to pay for De'Aaron Fox.
And you get to keep those Hawks picks.
They
get
probably
to
just
keep
think
the
he's a
picks.
better
And
player.
Haw- yeah, I mean,
And
Fox
that is where I understand he had an awesome debut.
I don't know if they think that.
He's not Trae Young.
I don't
He's
know
so
if-
far from Trae Young.
He's better
I don't know if
defensively.
he's far. I don't
He's a
think
better
he's far.
scorer.
The playmaking gap
It's
is
not close. It's
drastic,
not close.
and with Wemby, that is what I want more than anything.
The finishing gap is drastic.
Bigger player, 6'4",
I'm not going to
5'11".
disagree.
I
there.
think the
From the
defense
mid-range,
matters.
yeah.
The
The
defense matters.
offensive
You don't want to have
creation
Trae Young
with
out there when
Trae,
you have
come
Wemby.
I mean, you have Wemby. So
Yeah, but
Trae
it's
Young-
I know,
also-
but it's also like if we could just have 5 good defenders.
It's also a
Hey, Chris
player in
Paul.
Trae, and then we'll get to
Not
your
for long.
thoughts, Dehls. Also a player in Trae, all he has known his entire life, dating back to high school, college, and NBA, has been playing with the ball in his hands and having an absurdly high usage percentage.
He still would have a high usage.
Yeah, but I think maybe the Spurs don't really want that. I think the Spurs maybe want a more balanced,
Do
unselfish
you
approach.
think it's going to be balanced with De'Aaron Fox?
It was. I mean, there was plenty times where Chris Paul took the ball up the floor in the debut. I thought that it was a very balanced attack. It wasn't.
Barkley won it.
Come back.
He won?
AP offensive
offensive
player.
right.
PS 2-1 DPOI.
Let's go!
Did MVP get announced yet? Not yet.
Burrow won comeback. That's whack.
We don't care.
He said it's not an award you want to win. So
No, but yeah, so maybe that's a reason. But I could also see the
How long ago
asking
did he
price. The asking
Just
price
came
for De'Aaron Fox was much lower than Trae, and that's why he got traded. I could see
They
that.
just announced Joe Burrow winning it, so
Yeah.
the other awards. are
But
coming.
honestly, if I was the Hawks, if I wanted to trade Trae Young, I don't even care if you don't give me a young player back. Just give me the picks.
Yeah, give
Like,
my
just
picks
give me the
back.
picks. Like at that point,
I would have made him available. Like I would have called the Spurs. Like, yo, I want my picks back. I don't even ask for much. Just give my picks
I wish
back.
we could. I wish you could just get an insight on like what these trades sound like.
Yeah, because honestly,
I want to
Atlanta,
know what the trades sound like between the Warriors and the Bulls too. Why you didn't trade Vooch?
a lot of teams didn't field calls for Vooch, which was the craziest part.
There was a lot of reports that the Warriors were in talks with
No,
Vooch.
yeah,
Maybe
no.
the Butler trade
Yeah,
fucked
no,
some shit up.
The
but
Warriors for sure, but I saw this last report that was like there wasn't many teams field like towards the end
Man.
fielding calls for Vooch.
yeah.
it's really the worst feeling in the world rooting for a team that is bad and you don't have your pick.
It's brutal. No,
Yeah,
it's
Atlanta's tough, and then Jalen Johnson going down really because they were in the hunt, 6th seed, fighting. Then he goes down. Now you're sitting there like, God damn! Like I know the East is bad, but you might not make it out the play-in.
Yeah. I think it's a good move for the Cavs. Just getting back to DeAndre Hunter for a second. It's a B+, A- move. Is it a needle mover to the extent of PJ Washington? We got to find out first. We got to see if this is
I like you
PJ Washington or
respecting
not.
PJ.
Because, I saw PJ Washington go up against that Thunder team and damn near giving 25 a night. So we'll see if it's to that level. But I mean, for the price you had to pay, I think it's a great move. You know, and Riv was talking about the window you have right now. Windows, we always think you have this 10-year window. You have a decade to win. In reality, you really don't. Like, in reality, you really only have a short window for a majority of teams in the NBA. I think Cleveland's included in that. Even though they have such a young roster, there's just so much turnover year to year on other rosters, on your own rosters, on injuries, on coaching staffs, that when you are fucking, what are they, 40-9? It's
40,
like 40-10, something ridiculous. When you are this good and you're having this dominant regular season, you're not cashing in all of your chips because it's DeAndre Hunter, right? You're not going out and getting KD. But it's a move that definitely gets you better. He's been great off the bench, averaging almost 20 a game. He's been super efficient, averaging 39. His defense, I think, has been overall solid. Like, maybe not at a top tier level, but it's not to the point of like Karis LeVert in terms of fall off, because you get some of that offensive game with DeAndre Hunter, and you want another wing defender when you probably have to go up against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. I am interested to see how Cleveland guards Boston once we get there, when you get into a 7-game series and you can really scheme what you want to do. Because if you do put Evan Mobley on Jason Tatum, which I think we're going to see plenty of it, Jason Tatum's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to be initiating offense a lot of the time. So Evan Mobley's not going to be down there protecting the rim. And we know you're going to have 5 shooters out on the court majority of the time, or a minimum of 4. So even though Jared Allen's back, down low, you're going to have a shooter in one of those corners. If you want to sag off Drew Holiday because he hasn't been a great 3-point shooter, you could do that. But I think Boston's going to play the numbers game a lot of the time. But I think it's a good move for Cleveland. For the Hawks, like you guys have all said, I mean, it's tough because you don't have your draft picks, but I do think at a minimum, because the East is so bad, I still don't think it changes a lot in terms of like at the end of the season where they're going to be. I still think they're going to be the 9 or the 10 seed with or without DeAndre Hunter. So the fact that you get a few second round picks, it's something. But not having your draft picks and this roster being where it's at, the Jalen Johnson injury, it's a tough time to be an Atlanta fan.
Now, the next trade we have is the Pelicans Raptors. The Pelicans got Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a 2025 second round pick, and a 2026 first round pick from Indiana. And the Raptors get Brandon Ingram.
I'm going to be transparent with you, man. I really don't like this trade. Like, the more I try to think about it, the more I try to justify it for the Raptors, the more I try to justify it for both sides. Just you trade Brandon Ingram at his absolute lowest. You get a first-round pick. Bruce Brown's probably going to be buyout. Kelly Olynyk is on his 17th team at this point in his career. Respectable role player. I'll give him that credit, but he's not moving the needle too much. And I guess the Pelicans could use a big. Kelly Olynyk, fine. He'll get minutes there because there is a necessity there. But you sold so low on Brandon Ingram. For the Pelicans, I genuinely hate this. As for the Raptors, I understand you guys are in the business of collecting talent, especially at its lowest, because it's so difficult to get talent to come to Toronto. But can this roster start to make sense to me? You have so much. You have above average players on this roster. Not a bunch of them, but a bunch of above average players. Emmanuel quickly has played such a little amount of basketball this season that you can't count on him right now. Scotty Barnes is really good, but that 3-ball is pretty horrendous right now. Brandon Ingram is another guy that 3-ball is inconsistent. Really great playmaker. Both him and Scotty Barnes. I think Brandon Ingram's obviously better at playmaking, but Scotty's still great in that regard too. There's not really great shooting on this team. You have Jakob Poeltl, who is a really solid center down low, but there's just not a lot of cohesiveness to this roster. You need a talent. I understand that. I'm fine with that. You bought low on him. That's another win. But there's no sense to this roster. That's where you lose me here. So for the Pels, I guess you got a first-round pick. You're in the business of collecting assets. I'm at a C-. For the Raptors, I'm at a C+ for the sole fact that Brandon Ingram's an all-star. But other than that, I really don't love this.
It's a F for both sides.
Both sides?
And this, like, am I crazy for thinking the Pelicans should have just extended him and let him work his way back up to getting his value back up? Because you traded him for nothing, like literally, legitimately nothing. Like
First round pick in 2026.
So that's why
Indiana,
I went to C+.
He would have been eligible for $200 million, like 4 years, 200.
I'll be
I'll
transparent.
double check, but something like that.
I get it. You don't let players walk, but if this was the value, I would have let Brandon Ingram walk and test the market. Go see what you can get out there in the market. Because honestly, a 2026 Indiana pick, which I think we can all collectively agree, Indiana's probably going to be a good team next year.
4 years, 208.
Yeah,
I would not.
I wouldn't have. Yo, bro, honestly, like, it just, damn. Like, it puts the Pelicans in such a tough spot. Like, you really couldn't get anything for Brandon Ingram. And I don't think it's a Brandon Ingram talent thing. I think he's really talented. It's just injury concerns, skill set and where he can fit. As for Toronto, brother, what are you building? Like, you have R.J. Barrett, you have Emmanuel Quickley, you have Scotty Barnes,
All
you
making
have Brandon
30+
Ingram.
mil.
Yeah, like, what are you building? And if you extend Brandon Ingram, you was better off just keeping Pascal Siakam. I swear to God you would.
I agree.
Because it just doesn't make sense. And I think for the Raptors, they have put themselves in this weird bind of, let's contend. Oh, wait a minute. We look like we're good again. Because I feel like genuinely they made this move to try to make the play-in. Like, I really feel like they did this move to try to make the play-in. Whenever Brandon Ingram comes back, if he even does come back, this roster just looks clunky to me. I think
16
Toronto.
and 35, by the way.
Yeah, and what they're like 5 games out of the 10th seed. Like,
Yeah.
I just
7,
I feel like Toronto. If this was the move, you should have made no move. I feel like you could have just sat on your ass and just been where you're at. You didn't have to make a move. Sometimes the best move is no move. And I think for Toronto, there was no need to get Brandon Ingram. As for the Pelicans, you were in no man's land ever since the start of the season. Zion was down, Trey Murphy was down, Herb was down, DeJounte was down, then he tore his Achilles. Trey Murphy's been a revelation for you, but now Zion can't play back-to-back at his young age. And then Brandon Ingram, he's injured again. Like, you're just in this tough predicament where you can never see this roster healthy. And I don't want to say it's a good roster because you still don't know how it fits, but it's talent on this roster. You just don't know how it looks because it's never healthy.
It's ironic that both these teams traded with each other because I think they're the same version of each other's but just different conferences because their rosters don't make sense. Like the Pelicans, their franchise player is Zion Williamson, and they've never really surrounded Zion with players that make sense around him.
Hurts because last year they were good.
They were.
I think Murphy and Herb make sense.
They genuinely
They do.
were great,
Like,
actually.
and I
the
think-
Pelicans were great last year when they were
Pelicans
healthy.
were good because you have so much talent to the point where it's hard
Hurts me.
to be bad. But
really
the
like
point
them.
guard position
Almost beat the
really
Lakers.
is where I'm
Almost
stuck
beat the
at
Lakers.
with
Fucking Zion went for 40.
CJ McCollum trading for
Sorry,
DeJounte Murray. Hopefully DeJounte recovers from his injury.
we'll see.
And then the center position, they didn't really have no center. Like they never had a roster that fit around Zion. And this roster for the Raptors, ideally, you're trying to fit it around Scotty Barnes. RJ Barrett, non-shooter.
Stop.
You like he's just not a fit on a winning contending
Scotty?
type of team. No,
he's
RJ
RJ.
Barrett.
Yo,
I'm axing.
last time you talked shit on Scotty,
I'm axing.
he was an all-star.
Yo, just relax.
no,
I'm axing.
bro,
I'm
not hearing that, bro.
Just
I'm
axing.
sorry.
I asked him a question. That's all.
But listen,
What do you think of
maybe
Scotty?
I think Scotty's a really good player. But I think I need to see more from him. I need to see more, and
I was watching the other night against Jared.
I need to see
Give it a
how
rest.
he improves. Though, why I love this Brandon Ingram deal for the Raptors a little bit more than you guys is because I think it at least gives them an identity at the end of the closing of a game.
Yeah.
Because
that's fair.
Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes are not great shot creators. I think Brandon Ingram gives them a player they can go to at the end of games. And maybe this is the spot for Brandon Ingram where his game can flourish. I don't think that RJ is a long-term piece for them. And I think if they can get somebody like Ochai Agbaji's been playing really well this year,
He's
by the
fine
way.
for them.
And I think he fits
Grady
that
Dick is
lineup
fine
better.
for them.
Yeah.
Even Jamison Battle, guys like that.
I think they just committed to players that just weren't worth what their contracts were. RJ Barrett, they extended quickly to $30 million a year. Those are just hard contracts to trade. Like, what team out there is going to want to trade for a 6'1" point guard and quickly who's making $30 million a year?
Not Cook.
It's just very hard. So they're stuck with this collection of talent. But hey, if they are bad this year and they get a top 10 pick and they add that pick to this team, you can never have enough talented players, and it gives you more options with flexibility in trades.
Was that 26 first protected lottery?
I think it's
It's
top 3.
unprotected.
Oh, it is?
From the Pacers, yeah. 2026.
Double check. Because
I thought it had
I'm using
protection
2K as a
on it.
reference. Hilarious. I saw the top 3 protected.
Last thing I'll say on Toronto and their inability to
I have a
tank.
question.
Last time you were bad, it rewarded you with Scotty Barnes.
Doesn't sound great. but I
Last
get
time
it.
you were bad, you got Scotty Barnes. Learn from that. Be bad again. You can get. Cooper Flagg's out of the picture unless they are terrible for the rest
Hey,
of
the
the season.
lottery always is
Yeah,
tricky.
you're right.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
I'm saying you can get Cooper
He
Flag.
played at Montverde,
You can get Dylan. You can get VJ. Ace Bailey. You can get a good player for this
Ace
roster.
Bailey
It's
cannot
protected.
come on this roster.
Protected 1 through 4.
Agreed. I don't think he'd fit.
One
I'm
through
not
four?
gonna
Top 4
disagree.
I just
protected.
know what I know, Dehls.
I'm gonna be honest. I think
could.
if they could
Play
get a
4.
franchise point guard, they're good.
They're going to play him.
Pels?
Raptors.
Oh, the Raptors.
I think if the Raptors get a franchise point guard, like if they get lucky in the lottery,
If they get
maybe
Dehls,
Dylan
if
They get
Harper,
Dylan.
It's
I'm-
like
have-
I'm
even-
you could trade
here.
Scotty.
even Wick quickly coming off the bench, $30 million coming off the bench, that's fine. Dylan
that's why
Harper
I
run the
don't,
show.
I don't think it's about this year and making a run for the plan. Like if it happens, cool. But
Toronto,
I
they
just
get
think
that
the value you got for Brandon Ingram was a pretty decent value. 1 through 4 protected for the Pacers, who, you know, obviously made the ECF run last year. This season have been a bit up and down, but they're going to make the playoffs. So probably be a top 6 seed. So I think in 2026 you're expecting them to be a playoff team, assuming, you know, no injuries and everything else goes smooth with Tyrese and whatnot. But I think it's just the value you got for Brandon Ingram.
Halliburton?
You know, like the fact that you got him for 1 first-round pick that's basically unprotected. I mean, 1 through 4, like, you know, get the 5th pick. That's pretty fucking good. So I think more than anything, it was just the value that you're able to go out, get Brandon Ingram, who could be an all-star any given year. You don't have to give up multiple first-round picks. And I hear what you're saying, Riv, when it comes to Pascal Siakam, who I think is a better player than Brandon Ingram too. But, you know, all these guys that get traded who maybe are better than Brandon Ingram, but like Mikal Bridges, for example, like giving him 5, 6
They got
round
3
picks.
first-round picks for Pascal.
Exactly. And you only got to give up 1 for Brandon Ingram and a couple players you really don't care about. So I think the value is really solid. For the Pelicans, I think it signals that you're starting to rebuild, whether that's with Zion, whether that's without Zion. The way this season has gone, really these last 2 seasons, and for being honest, majority of Zion's career, you've just been so banged up. Zion aside, the whole roster feels like year in and year I have just dealt with so many injuries. So the fact that this season has gone south as quickly as it has, the fact that you're not going to make the play-in, you have no chance of making the playoffs, I think this signals that you're beginning this rebuild process. The fact that you do get a first-round pick out of it, because if Brandon Ingram is looking at me like, listen, if you don't give me $200 million, I'm walking, I'll be like, okay, Brandon Ingram, you could walk, respectfully. They're just not in a position right now with the current roster, with Zion Williamson, with his health concerns, to pay Brandon Ingram $200 million, because if you paid him that, we're all going into next season being like, oh yeah, best case scenario, this is a playing team. And the way that the Spurs just got De'Aaron Fox and all of these trades happened, the West is so fucking good, it's going to be really hard to put you even as the 11th seed in the Western Conference. That's how damn good that the West is right now. So I think it's a fine move for both teams. Neither of them like hit a home run, but I think for what they're trying to do, the Pelicans starting to rebuild, probably give you like a B-. The Raptors, I guess it's just like, you know what? We're going to go out and get Brandon Ingram. Let's see what the contract is. If you give him $200 million, I'll have some real questions. Can you get some value on him? Then I like it a bit
Can
more.
I ask a question?
Okay.
Okay. You know what? What's your question? You raised your hand.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What is our what is our
If you ask a Scotty Barnes question, I might have to get up.
what is our overall thought process on Scotty
Here he
Barnes?
goes. This is not
Just
so
long term as a player. I'm just asking. You know?
I'm excited.
Drafted. What was he? Top 3?
4.
He was 4. Cool.
Rookie of the year.
Dope. Has
All-star.
been
All-star. All-star.
No, that's dope. That's why I'm asking. Like, what is our overall thought
I'm
process on Scotty
excited,
Barnes?
but I don't know if he's untouchable if things go wrong.
Okay. I can feel that. What do you think of him as
You know
a player?
what's crazy, Riv, is I think, you know, how I feel about Scotty now
I think he'd be like a top 15 player.
is kind of similar to how we felt about him coming out the draft.
Interesting. This a Swiss Army knife.
I think
Andre Iguodala vibe.
I think of
That's great.
a glue
dope.
guy.
That's awesome.
He's probably
Top
not
4
going to be
pick.
the best player on your
Andre
team
Iguodala's
that
getting
can
his
lead
number
you to a
retired.
deep playoff from, but a utility guy, like a Draymond, do it all
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Every
That's-
team needs
that's
that.
how
I
view
think
Scotty.
I think like
I
peak
think
top
that's
15,
like really
20.
dope for a playoff team.
Like who?
Huh? Oh, not this team. like a playoff team.
Hey,
Yeah.
he doesn't make decisions.
No, I agree with him. Like I think he's in an unfortunate spot where he's like the number 1 guy, or he's like they put him in these positions where
He's out of
just
his role.
Yeah, that's just not him. So he looks worse.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's
What
why
do
I
you
be-
think of Scotty Barnes?
Well, that's why I'm saying that, because I be watching. I'm like, this shit looks terrible. Like, shit looks bad. But then I look around
So
the
what do
roster.
you
and
think
it's
But
his
I
like,
think Ingram now, I think this is why this is a spot where he can maybe thrive.
Ingram,
Yeah.
All right, this is what I was going to say.
you're not being better than Ingram in year 4 is fake.
Ingram's
Ingram's a good
all-star
player.
too.
Fake
player.
crazy though.
You're 4. Young.
Ingram was the 2nd pick in the draft.
We all know. Look at
Why
that.
are we talking like what? Brandon Ingram's not a bum.
I'm just playing with Scotty.
That
Barnes,
being
man.
said, you talked about the Pelicans and their roster if they were to have extended him. Let's live in a perfect world for half a second. Nobody gets injured.
This is the worst world ever.
Hold-
This world doesn't exist, I
okay,
fear.
you guys are really
Respectfully.
showing.
I hope it did.
If it did, that means D Rose never got hurt.
We're done? Are we done? Can I continue?
Tatum doesn't injure his wrist. Maybe they win.
Michael Jordan never retires.
That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. You think Luka's ever going to win?
Wait,
Yeah.
2022? Oh, brother.
I have 100% confidence Luka will win a championship.
Just like Harden.
You thought the wrist injury was gonna help him?
Duh. Took him to 6.
Harden
brother,
wasn't on the
no.
Lakers.
Once Steph gave you 40, shit was over, brother.
And Luka's better than Harden.
Wow.
Clears. Now,
It's not Bradley Tatum.
Warriors never blow 2016. I need that. I need that.
I can laugh for that.
I need that.
So
back.
in a perfect world, they're a playoff team.
No, in a perfect world,
They're healthy.
they're healthy.
Yes.
Last year,
Yes.
when they were healthy,
Top 4 seed.
post All-Star, top 5 offense, top 5 defense, one of the best defenses in the league.
Yes, yes,
Amazing.
yes.
Now, this season,
Jonas Valanciunas was starting last year, right?
he was. That's where the one issue becomes.
Tears.
Now, and this is where I'm saying, if they were to extend him, give him that contract, which, hey, a lot of money. DeJounte healthy. Herb Jones healthy.
Yep.
Trey Murphy healthy.
Nope.
Zion healthy.
Yep.
B.I. healthy.
That's the 5.
Avesmisi. I'm just naming the
Oh,
players
probably-
they have.
That's probably like the 9 seed.
Avesmisi. Here's the issue with that.
It's a playing team.
When they were healthy last year, they were top 6
The
lock.
teams got better.
Here's the thing, though. That's a talented team when it's healthy.
It's very talented.
Should we go through all the teams in the West where they'd be better than?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Let's have fun. Their center is Yavisi Misi.
And that's where
That's good.
if you
No, yeah, it's cool.
Hear
Would they
me?
be better than
Hear
the
me?
Thunder?
Can I finish before you start getting these scenarios? Because now we're talking about next season.
So perfect season.
This is
perfect
no,
world.
this is perfect.
So Memphis
world.
is healthy. Houston's healthy.
yeah.
OKC's
Oh,
healthy.
yeah.
All right, cool.
Perfect world. You extend them. Everybody's healthy. Avesmisi now in year 2. And you probably made a move for a big because you needed one desperately.
All right,
But that's the only move in the margins that they made.
And
For a
DeJounte's there.
backup big. And DeJounte's healthy. His
Okay.
Achilles is still intact.
Let's do it.
Okay. Keep in mind, last season,
Okay.
this was one of the best defenses in basketball.
We got you. We're going this year.
and one of
Everybody's
the
healthy.
best offenses. Here we go.
Everybody's healthy this year. Let's do it.
They better than the Thunder.
No shot.
Absolutely not.
Memphis Grizzlies.
No shot.
Yes.
No. My God. They're
In a
the
regular
Grizzlies
season?
are 35
the
and
Pelicans
16
were
right
a
now.
great regular season team.
In the regular season?
I said what I said.
The reason why I don't want you to go down this list is because I don't think they're even better than the Spurs. I think the Spurs.
you just trolled the shit
Fox
out
with
of
the
me.
Spurs.
Memphis has been like a top when they're
think
healthy,
they're
like a
better.
top 4 seed all the time.
Yeah.
Pelicans last year
for
when
a
they were
half.
healthy.
Memphis for a
They were great
season.
for the whole season. Brandon Ingram got hurt. The wheels fell off.
But that's the issue. This perfect
Memphis-
world doesn't exist.
Memphis gets
doesn't.
hurt and the wheels don't fall off.
So
Drew.
if
That's
in a-
not true. Last year, John Morant was not
No,
healthy. And they won
everybody
0
got hurt.
games.
Everybody
Drew,
got
if
hurt,
the
Drew.
scenario is if everything goes right, we could maybe be the 7th seed.
Pelicans
That's not
had
a team
maybe
I
the
want to
most
be part
unlucky
That
of.
brother
season of
started
all
with number
time.
2, yes.
The Pelicans lost Herb, B.I., Zion, DeJounte. They lost everybody before the second week of the season.
No, this year they got unlucky as shit.
last
I agree
year
with
they
you.
were great.
I wasn't high on them coming into the year though.
No one was.
I thought the DeJounte fit was a little bit wonky.
They didn't have a big.
And Brandon Ingram, I think it's better that they don't have him no more.
I don't disagree.
Because I think now
look at this.
Trey
Saying let's
Murphy
respect this
starts.
We're better than the Rockets.
How is that a thought?
Memphis was a thought too
No, you said it fast.
because I knew my answer prior.
You're sick.
Were the Pelicans ever a top three seed? Top 3 seed. This
I'm
late in
looking
the season?
right now.
No,
This late, hell no.
I think Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion is better than Herb, Ingram, Zion. I think that lineup is better.
So
than
last year
that
they were
lineup.
49 and 33. Good record in the West.
The problem I have with Brandon Ingram is that he's not a volume 3-point shooter.
49-33, and that's with B.I. missing like the last month of the season.
Well, he played 65 games.
Yeah, I know. And that was
Zion
a win.
played 70.
It was awesome.
And they were the drum roll,
They
please.
fell off to 8.
Yeah. They played the Lakers round
They
one.
played the Lakers round 1. They fell off when B.I. got hurt.
No, they were 7th.
Oh, you're right.
It was in New
Lakers,
Orleans.
You're
yeah.
right.
It was in New
It was
Orleans.
in the, yep.
They were a top 6 a majority of the season.
But again, it's like-
that 4 through 8 was so fucking close.
I'm not saying that they're not talented, and I think, last year it's unfortunate that we didn't see them healthy, but I think it's better that they're moving on from Ingram because I don't think he fit.
Here's my thing. They were 7th last year. Memphis is 2 now
They're amazing.
in a tougher West. Like,
amazing.
this year is better than last year.
They're amazing.
Yeah, that's my own.
Yeah, I feel like everything goes right. They're probably the 7th or the 8th seed again. It's just
That defense from the Pelicans was
It was top 7.
amazing.
It was right. Let me see.
It was incredible.
Do they tell you wins at a point? Oh, fucking bastards.
Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, B.I. showed that he could be in a great defensive lineup. That team was awesome, man. It really breaks my heart that Zion got hurt, even though it was against my Lakers.
honestly, well, no, because
He
if
had
you
40.
would have lost that game, you wouldn't have played Denver.
No, we wouldn't
Probably
have.
didn't want him to get hurt.
Low key.
The next trade is the Bucks, Wizards, Knicks 3-team deal.
Here we go.
The
Jericho
Bucks
Sims.
get Kyle Kuzma, Patrick
separate?
Baldwin Jr., Jericho Sims, a second-round pick.
Sims.
The Wizards get Khris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, a 2028 first-round pick swap, and the Knicks get DeLon Wright
It's a
and
win
cash.
for the Wizards.
I hate this a lot.
I love this for the Wizards.
The Bucks, what the fuck, dude?
Worst volume score in the league.
This is
I'll
I
take
hate
Bam.
it a lot.
It's like
He's not
legitimately
going to be
the
a
most
volume scorer
inefficient
with the
shooter.
Bucks, though.
He
He
won't.
isn't. And also, they got into the second apron, right?
Yeah,
got
they're
into the
under now.
So
They-
they can get some buyout guys.
I don't hate this. I think Kuzma, he showed with the Lakers when they
That
won a
was so
championship.
long
He's
ago.
49% true shooting.
I know, but in Washington, everybody's chucking shots.
Jordan Poole's
There-
efficient.
There's
Last
no
year he was
excuse
good
for
this year.
We don't care about
49%.
last season.
I think that the
49?
the
That's bad.
shots
Take
will
some
be
stupid
easier
ass
for him.
shots.
I don't think he cared about anything in Washington.
He said on Twitter they'll make the playoffs.
Allegedly, he turned down a deal to the Mavericks. Is that real?
Yeah, last year.
2 first
That
round
was
picks.
reported.
Yo,
that he didn't
how
think
did
they
he
could
turn
compete.
it
Nico
down?
Harrison was showing us early that he was dumb and we didn't see it.
Why do they just treat these guys like they have no trade clauses?
It's
I'll be
nuts.
like, Kuz,
Yeah.
you're getting your ass to
Like, I
Dallas,
get KD
bro.
walking up and be like, I don't
Yeah,
want
I'll
to
be
go
like,
here. It's
all
like,
right,
all
I
right,
got you.
It's just I
Kuzma?
look at the Bucks and I look at what they've needed. They need size, they need rebounding, they need defense. And I think Chris Middleton's still a great player, and I think he's a great scorer still. But he just didn't give you defense, and he's not healthy. He's unreliable.
Breaks my heart.
So I think now they have more size with these small ball Giannis lineups. You can have Giannis at the 5, Kuzma at the 4. You have Dame, and then you can have some shooters around them. I think it just makes them a slightly better defensive team. Now, does that change anything for the Bucks? No, not really. You know, I still think a lot of things need to go perfectly for them to have a realistic shot at competing for a championship or making it out the East.
the East?
But I do think that this move makes them better. And I think Kyle Kuzma, the role that he had in Washington, is not the role that he's going to have with the Bucks. And I think that's what we have to realize is that with the Bucks, it's going to be a different role. It's going to be easier shots. And I think that he's going to play well with them.
I can't get myself to be excited for this if I'm a Bucks fan. Kyle Kuzma's been miserable this season, and I can respect and appreciate being in a new situation. I'm very pro going from a bad situation to a good situation. Your effort goes up, your excitement goes up to play basketball again. I'm in favor of that, and I can get behind that. He's been bad, man. His offense is not good. It's been probably the worst of his career. Really hasn't been great. And the defense, I guess that's something that you can look forward to. Maybe the health, that's something that definitely you can look forward to. But geez, this isn't the move. This isn't the one that I'd be overly excited about.
Honestly, Chris Middleton's value is pretty low, so there wasn't really much you can really
He's
get.
getting paid a lot, too.
He is, but and I believe he has
Expiring, I
a play,
believe.
but it's a player option. I think next year, so he's going to take his money, and I respect the hell out of that. Go get your bread before you become an afterthought in the league. Listen, the Bucks are sitting at 5th seed, so they will play Indiana as of today. I think Kyle Kuzma, there's weird idea of him where, you know, you have the moment where he was with the Lakers in the bubble and he played really well.
He was
and
awesome.
And they won a championship. But he's been so removed from that player, and I think he's been in Washington kind of doing his thing. He's kind of been, in the sense, tweeting about how they're good and they can make the playoffs and throwing these jokes. So he's kind of been on this chill mode. I am definitely going to give this grade a D, but
For both sides?
no,
Or just-
no.
just
For the
Milwaukee?
Bucks, but at the same time, I am very easily open to changing it if he plays really well with the Bucks. Because I do think new situation can warrant a guy being really good. But from last year, we saw Daniel Gafford in Washington. He was never bad in Washington. They were just bad. And I think when you look at situations like that, that's where it triggers. With Kyle Kuzma, he was bad. You look at the team, Corey Kisper's not bad. Jordan Poole's not bad. They're just a young bad team at the moment. Kyle Kuzma was legitimately bad for them. So going to Milwaukee, you kind of have Giannis there as a champion, Dame, who's kind of, you know, been in the spotlight for some time. Maybe they do breed some new vibes into him, some winning mentality. As for the Wizards, this is a win. Like this is all a win. Like they got a little draft pick, got some compensation. The Wizards low key had a really good deadline.
They did.
Just in terms of just getting a lot of draft compensation, you know, getting some quality players that can just expire off the books and they get their money off. They were doing their thing today, low key, and they were doing some quiet moves. And I like what the Wizards did, kind of just bringing in these vets to kind of just, you know, give a high five to the young players when they do something good. Because, you know, a lot of these players would be gone. So shout out to the Wizards. I think they had an A+ day. For the Bucks, you want to compete with the Knicks, you want to compete with the Cavs, you want to compete with the Boston Celtics, and your move was get Kyle Kuzma. So now you have to show me.
He's going to go
Yeah.
to Tatum.
Yeah, God bless. I'm with you, Riv. It almost feels like an incomplete grade for Milwaukee because if you're a Bucks fan, you're telling yourself, I think Joel to a little extent is like, he was trolling in Washington. He was fucking around. I mean, but also he's been in Washington four years now, right?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, so of course he got the ring with the Lakers. But I mean, we're going on 4 years of him kind of trolling, being an inefficient shooter, below average league shooter. So can you just like flip a switch? You go to Milwaukee, you're competitive now. All of a sudden, like everything is good. You can start hitting your shots. Like, sure, you'll have less maybe defensive coverages, but even still, our team's loading up on Kyle Kuzma. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've watched fucking 20 Wizards games, because I definitely haven't. But I don't know. It's just is Kyle Kuzma a missing a missing piece that this team has needed? I almost feel like I would ride out with Middleton. Like last year in the playoffs, he was fucking awesome. Like I get the injuries a concern, I get all of that, but for Milwaukee, it almost feels like if shit doesn't go right this season, something big's probably going to happen. If you get pounced in the first round again, something big is definitely going to happen.
Be traded the next day.
So at that point, I would rather just ride out with Khris Middleton, who I get has been injured. He's having not a great season, averaging like 12 or something points per game.
Coming with the bench
but
now.
the upside that he's shown in the playoffs, he's a proven playoff scorer. He's a proven guy in the big moments. For a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who's just been kind of wasting away in Washington, then you got to sell it to your fans too on the other aspects. Like Khris Middleton's been a guy that's been in Milwaukee for a long, long time. Of course, won the championship there, had a great playoff run, was great in the finals, and now you got to be like, yeah, time's over. Kyle Kuzma, his replacement. It would be a tough pill to swallow if I was a Bucks fan.
I would throw the fuck up. I'm sick. Just went from Khris Middleton, who was an amazing Robin in my finals run, had great moments in that finals.
4 years ago.
And I have
Kyle Kuzma 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I'd rather someone that actually
put Khris on the
contributed at a
bench.
high
he's
level.
younger though, and he like
How old is Kuzma? Actually, I feel
Kuzma might be like 27.
he's been in the league for some time now.
When are we gonna just?
He's
keep it
29.
a buck?
Damn, for real?
Turns
just
30
be
in the summer.
honest.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah.
In December?
Summer. July,
Wow,
summer, yeah.
30. Kuzma, 30. We getting old, y'all.
I just think that defensively he just brings more. Like I think he just brings more.
He brings more
size.
size for sure.
I think the one thing
We'll
that
see.
I'm happy about is that he's healthy. Like if that's what I've convinced, like we got a healthy player with some upside. Maybe I can convince.
He's a good
myself of
rebounder.
That. He is. That he is.
I have
Is
the
his role
Bucks.
just like a spot up shooter? What's his role for Milwaukee?
It's gonna
I
be.
think just like
you want
a
Dame to
cutter.
be honest with the ball.
I think just a cutter, maybe rolling. Getting us some spot up opportunities.
I'm gonna say he's
I
gonna
give the
live in
Bucks
that
a
corner. I saw
C+.
him live
I
in
want
that
his big
corner in
donkey
LA.
ass cutting, brother.
I
Just
gave
stay in
the-
that corner and get ready to shoot.
I gave the Wizards an A. I think this was a good move for them.
Yeah.
Getting a vet in the building, and then we can go through some rapid fire deals here. The Kings Wizards. The Kings get Jonas Valanciunas. The Wizards get Sidi Sissoko, 2 second-round picks, but I think Sidi Sissoko might have been cut. I'm not sure. He might have been
C
waived.
for the Kings. Not the big they needed, but big man depth nonetheless. Once again, A for the Wizards. Get some draft
Second-round picks for
compensation for Jonas Valanciunas.
Second
Somebody
he
who,
signed him, we knew that he's getting traded.
yeah, for sure. We just tried to figure out when and how much are they going to get from 2 second-round picks. They value a lot in this whack-ass new CJ McCollum league we have to where the second apron and all that
You
nonsense.
said CJ McCollum League?
This is basically
he
it.
cooked.
Yeah. This guy created some bullshit
I
rule.
fucking
like,
hate him.
I'm crying.
Like, what is he doing?
He's the president of the...
yeah, him. Out of all people, him. He's a smart guy though. I gotta respect it. So,
Grant Williams is on the
went to
panel
Lehigh.
too.
I gave the Kings a B- and the Wizards a B.
I agree with that. I was gonna say put a little more respect on the Kings. They need a backup big. Jonas is
what I
firm.
said, C plus. I feel like C
I
plus.
thought you
was-
said C flat.
Nah, C plus.
Okay, I'm fine
Decent.
with that.
The Clippers, Hawks, and Rockets. The Hawks get Terrence Mann and Bones Holland.
Crying.
The Clippers get Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks.
That's huge.
And the Rockets get Cody
Bogdan's been playing
Zeller.
with
Wasn't Terrence Mann untouchable
They needed
at one
shooting.
point?
It was definitely like 3-4 years ago. Yo, you know what's funny?
2020 second-round pick for the
I
Rockets.
seen Terrence Mann's Muse account tweet, yo. I tweeted like, yo, Atlanta, welcome me. And somebody commented, shut the fuck up. It was so funny. Clippers, if Bogdan gets back to form, because I saw his splits, it was like, I think Bleacher Report dropped, it was like
He's not
39.
playing well,
yeah,
no.
30. If he can get back to form, though, it's a good ass move.
They
like,
need a
yeah,
scorer.
if he's back to form, he's so much better than Terrence Mann. Just from the shooting perspective, can go get a bucket, can work well in the pick and roll. So this is like a Kuzma thing in the sense of if he's back, this is an A+ move.
And he'll
It's
shoot
straight-
well with Harden.
Yeah.
It's straight the only season he shot poorly. Like this is the only
Yeah, he's
year he's been a bad
And I
shooter.
think, like you mentioned, Harden's been playing really well in the playmaking department. I give this an A move because I do believe in Bogdanovic. As for Atlanta, see, Terrence Mann's cool.
Yeah, I think for the Clippers, I'll give it a B. Just Bogdanovic has to come back to form. The Hawks, I'll give it a C. And the Rockets, I'll give it, a C. Really didn't get much.
Yeah, they just jumped in it just to jump in it.
The Grizzlies, Wizards, and Kings. The Grizzlies get 2 second-round picks, Johnny Davis and Marvin Bagley.
life.
The Wizards get Marcus Smart, Kobe Jones, Alex
I know
Len,
your type.
a 2025 first-round pick. and the Kings get Jake LaRavia.
This move
Jake
fucking
LaRavia.
sucks.
Another first, the Wizards.
I was just about to check what that pick was.
Memphis, they disappointed me this deadline.
The Kings got Jake LaRavia, you said? Right?
Yes.
He's a solid
That's
player.
a really
decent.
good
Yeah,
move.
I thought that was a good
And I think
pickup
the
for them.
reason why the Grizzlies traded him was because they could only offer him a certain amount of money in his contract and in his extension, so they decided to move him. But no, he's been excellent for them. Like, this is a great move for the Kings.
Like I said, they have too many guys. So like you've seen GG's back, Vince Williams back. There isn't gonna be much minutes. You got to start moving guys, and they moved Lobby. He was a guy that was gonna lose minutes. You know, even Scottie Pippen, his minutes are starting to decline. And then they moved another guy, got nothing. So
Yeah, the Wizards getting a first and Marcus, another vet in the building.
Yep.
Having two vets for these young guys, help them teach them the reins.
Wizards was cooking.
That's exciting.
Marcus Smart, man. Fall off sad.
He sucks,
It's
dude.
sad.
Come on, don't do that.
It is a fall from grace.
Drew, he's fucking.
NBA trade deadline winners and losers. Now, we were talking about the Wizards. They're my winner, one of my winners. You get Smart, Middleton, AJ Johnson, Kobe Jones, 2 firsts in 2025, 2 firsts in 2026. Through 2031, the Wizards have 11 first-round picks. They have 12 second-round picks, and they have 3 pick swaps. Will Dawkins, their GM, is doing an exceptional job, and this is how you jumpstart a rebuild. You had to revive your franchise after paying Bradley Beal that contract, and they've done an excellent job.
My winner, obviously, Lakers. Self-explanatory. You get a top 3, top 5 player in the world in Luka Doncic, and you get Mark Williams, who gives you some upside. And I'll give you another winner because Lakers are obvious. Everybody would have them. Other winner I have is the Spurs. You were able to go and acquire De'Aaron Fox and not give away any Spurs pick, give away any young players that you have on this squad. An amazing trade deadline for them. They were able to improve their roster without gutting it too much. And you still have 6 of your 7 draft picks for the future that you own. You have all of the Hawks picks that you got from the DeJounte Murray trade. This was an amazing trade deadline for them, and I'm very excited for the future for them.
Lakers, of course. Wizards, a sneaky one. I also had the Cavs that we just talked about, and the Miami Heat. I think Miami Heat getting Andrew Wiggins, getting off the Jimmy Butler drama. I think a lot of it, a lot of the upside that comes with the Miami Heat is that shit's just over, man. Like, that saga for me, just having to read these fucking reports goddamn every single day, all this nonsense going around Jimmy Butler, the fact that that's just done, it's out of the locker room. Are you worse? Talent perspective, yes, but getting Andrew Wiggins in there, getting a future draft pick, even though Miami's been the butt of the joke a lot of times when it comes to trading for superstars or lack thereof,
It's a fact.
I still trust them. They're a team that every single year is in the playoffs. Last few years have made deep playoff runs. So getting out Jimmy Butler, getting Wiggins, who's a really, really good role player when he's locked in and healthy, I think it's a win.
Cavs, Clippers, Detroit. All 3 teams that essentially sent out little to nothing to get quality good players. Clippers, I'm more inclined to have just belief and faith because I've seen Bogdanovich for a time be a really good player. And then, he's having a bad year this year. But now you're going to play with James Harden. You're going to play with Kawhi. The Clippers are winning a ton of games. They are electric. That arena is fired. The fan base is there. I think Bogdanovich would be great for them. As for DeAndre Hunter coming in for the Cavs, they're not really giving up nothing. He can come in there to a winning culture. They're 40-10. He can come in and be that type of scorer off the bench. And then Detroit, just kind of winning on the margins, bringing in Dennis Schroeder, somebody who played really well in Brooklyn, did not play well with Golden State. I think he'll fit more with Detroit, especially with them losing Jaden Ivey. And I'll just flip off with the losers because I'm already here.
One sec. Winner, Houston Rockets. I like that they didn't make a move. This is your first year.
Pick up Jane Springer. They cut him, though.
Don't want to disrespect them. Fair enough. But I'm glad they
space
didn't
for
make. I'm glad they didn't make a drastic move to this team. You're finally getting a taste of real success. You've been a legitimate, great team this year. One of the best teams against teams over 500. One of the best defense in the league. You didn't want to mess up what you can. At least show yourselves what you can do this year. Go and see what you have with this roster. Adjust accordingly after the fact. I'm very happy that they didn't make an over the top move.
One other side note: Eli did not make the play.
The Hall of Fame.
Jesus Christ, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Unfortunate, but it happens.
He'll get in.
He's probably there with his whole fam,
He's
too.
never
thinking
been
something.
like a top 5 quarterback, like ever.
No comment.
But no,
The year he won, he was most definitely top 5.
maybe the run he had was
But no, he
great.
threw for almost 5,000 yards that year as well. He was amazing that season.
Which one? Which time?
2011.
The Celtics lost.
Brother,
Tatum had 19. No, he had 17 points.
That
be
was
honest,
so
bro. We
random.
beat the Cavs. I'm good for a week.
Klay Thompson had 25.
Only 4 players got in.
What? Oh, the Hall of Fame. Yeah, they're talking about the fucking.
Who got in?
Losers.
Did Antonio Gates get in?
He did.
He did.
Jared
Sterling
Allen.
Sharp, Eric Allen, and Jared Allen.
Losers. Memphis. I think they have the same vibe as Houston, but on the flip side, you know what you have in Ja, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. You kind of established those are your three guys. They've been here for some time. You have a plethora of good players. You have 14 good players. You could have packaged a couple of these dudes to get a really foundational good player, a vet, somebody who can really help this roster out, and you didn't. Instead, you sent out draft picks. You sent out Marcus Smart, Jake Lavia for essentially nothing. I felt like they could have made a deal. They were a little bit too safe. I don't like that. Might haunt them in the playoffs, but I do feel like they kind of get the opposite side because with Houston, you don't know what you have. With Memphis, I feel like you do. Second loser, Atlanta, just because of the fact that
100%.
you didn't have to trade these guys because at the end of the day, you do not have your draft picks. You hold no cards to your future. Like there's like if it was either trade Trae Young to get your picks back or ride it out with this roster. You have deficiencies at this roster, but you do have young players in Dyson, in Richese, in Jalen Johnson, a nice little 2-3-4 wing tandem that you can hopefully be good about over the next couple years. But Atlanta just shipping out DeAndre Hunter, shipping out Bogdanovic. Didn't make sense to me. I would have rolled them out for the year, because essentially you don't really have any window to do anything.
I'll say this.
My loser's the Mavericks, pretty simply.
Oh,
There's
that was easy.
There's
Definitely on
no
my list.
bigger loser.
It's the biggest
was
loser,
easy.
trading Luka Doncic. And then the Hawks, they're a loser. I think that this is going to end in Trae Young requesting a trade and being shipped out of Atlanta. I just don't think they have
Where does he
any
go
direction.
now?
That's Trae Young, you're saying?
Yeah, because the Spurs was the ideal
I think he stays
spot.
in Atlanta,
I'm
honestly.
saying if he does axe out, where does he go?
I don't know.
Imagine he goes to the
Miami?
Mavericks.
Imagine
Orlando.
Hilarious.
I know, right?
Orlando could be Orlando.
Orlando's a good move.
Speaking of my losers, the Orlando Magic. How many years have we been asking for them to get a legitimate offensive threat at the point guard position?
They have no shooting, too.
They have nothing.
KCP's
Zero. I know. I
terrible.
can't believe it. He's legitimately bad.
Bro, is a Jokic merchant.
Which, hey, they exist. I can't believe that this is another trade deadline gone and they didn't make a move. I think the Magic are huge losers, which I'm keeping consistent where there's teams that didn't make moves and I'm actually happy about it. The Trailblazers not making a move is a win. They've been playing excellent basketball recently. Kamara has been excellent for them on the defensive side of the ball. Scoot has been playing great basketball for them. Anthony Simons, obviously, you know what he can give you. Rob Will now healthy. This is a fun team, and I'm glad they decided to ride it out. You don't need to make moves. You don't need to sell. Let's see what these young guys have. Let's run it for the rest of the season. Let's see what noise we can make. We probably aren't going to be a real competitive team down the stretch. We're going to have a good draft pick, but we have upside. That's something we can look forward to the future and be optimistic about. With the Magic, I have Paolo. I have Franz. Jalen Suggs, who's injured right now, and obviously all three of those guys have been injured at some point in the season. But I haven't been playing great basketball with Paolo on the court. I need a legitimate offensive point guard. And the fact that they have not done that and not gotten that in the time that Paolo has been on the team is malpractice.
Who do you think's better? Not better, but who would you take, Scoot or Jalen Suggs?
Scoot.
I'm taking the upside of Scoot.
I would take the upside of Scoot.
Jalen Suggs is good.
Yeah, the
He's
Magic
fallen
have
off
been-
this year.
he's
though,
gotten hurt.
offensively.
He's been hurt.
Yeah, I was just
But
saying
when he was healthy, his three ball was not
He was
falling.
by himself. He was dolo.
When
He
he
was,
when he
but-
was healthy, they were winning. When he's been hurt, they've not been able to do shit. I mean, they've been
they
on
need
a
guards.
a
Why you
real
ask that question?
stinker.
I just wanted to see where you guys were at.
Cade or Paulo? Are we back?
I think it's a combo.
I'm going Cade.
I think it's a
Calm
combo.
down, bro. You fucking gotta stop.
I'm not there just
Why
yet.
are you acting like Cade's not a
But
killer?
it's a combo.
It's just
Rib,
you
it's a
and-
combo.
You and Cade,
We're back.
I
It's a
don't know
combo.
where you're at.
Dehls, we're back
What do you
in it.
mean?
We got dropped out the combos. We're
You
back
were
in it
low
now.
on
Paulo
Cade.
was great
You were
last
high
year.
on Cade coming out the draft. Then you were low on Cade this season. Now you're here and he's good, which is fair.
This is the first time I could probably evaluate him in the situation.
But you evaluated him in the past and you weren't kind to
Yeah,
him.
and I wasn't.
That's your best
Yeah, that's a
excuse.
terrible answer. That's a terrible
No,
answer.
listen, it was like, okay,
Interesting.
the situation is bad, but I didn't feel like he was making it any better.
Team was dog shit, but let's get Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. Now all of a sudden,
Paulo's in a
Size.
tough spot. The whole team's been injured. He's been injured. I think this is a year that you don't just chalk it up
No.
because you're
Yo,
too.
what if they
but-
chalk it up and get Dylan?
I just
No,
don't
dude,
know
they're
if
not gonna
there's
be that bad.
like what this.
What if they chalk it and get Dylan, bro?
I'd come.
They have,
Fucking
we're talking about the Magic right now.
Yes.
Like
How
I
would
feel
they
like
No, he's crazy.
with Paulo Banchero,
Talk to me, big bro.
His inefficiency last year, we kind of just overlooked
Because in
it.
the playoffs, he was amazing.
Yeah, he was amazing in the playoffs. He is a below average finisher for his size. I think that's pretty concerning.
Sees two bodies at the rim
He
a lot.
is supposed to be a great to elite finisher
There's
for
no
his size.
spacing, Papa.
But I think he should still be able to finish.
Sometimes, yeah. I agree.
I still think he
But
should be able
it
to
would
finish
be
better.
awesome if in year 3 we can get spacing around our franchise player.
Because I think there are other situations where players are put in that they don't have optimal spacing and they finish at an elite level.
Like Cade Cunningham?
Like John Moran.
Is Cade Cunningham a great finisher?
No, John.
That's
Cade,
my.
but Cade is a better jump shooter than Pop.
I mean,
Why
which
is
he
John
should
Morant
be.
being brought up?
because
He's a great finisher with bad
Memphis
space,
didn't have great
So
spacing
actually,
around him early.
Oh, yes.
And he was an elite finisher. De'Aaron Fox with the Kings, the spacing isn't the best. He's able to finish at an
Derrick
elite level
Rose
at the
in
rim.
Chicago. Like
I just think finishing around the rim is one of those things where
these are guards,
it's,
though.
I know.
They're a lot
but,
more,
But also,
nimble.
I mean, you're bigger. You should
no,
finish
I
better around
understand-
the
I
rim.
understand that point.
Cade Cunningham, one thing that has stuck from his previous Pistons years is the fact that he's still not a good finisher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cade, if he can actually become a great finisher or even above
Whistle's
average
also
one,
terrible.
he can become like a top 10 level player. I think that's missing in his game.
He's already there in my eyes.
Top 10?
Huh? Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's better than Jimmy Butler.
Is he better than?
I swear to God, I was
know
thinking
you
of Jimmy Butler.
I know, because
in
he
my
said
head.
15, 20. He's
Is he
better.
better than Jalen Brunson?
We'll get there.
Fuck no.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Give us another year.
the other couple losers.
6'8", 6'7".
Is he better than Ant-Man?
No.
You know where I'm at with it. You know where
Better
I'm
than
at.
D-Book.
How
He
many,
almost
how,
had
many,
50.
how many wins does Minnesota have?
I think they're definitely like in
They're
the
above
plan.
500.
26,
But I think they're like
27?
2 games.
Oh,
They're
what is
25 and
Detroit?
23 maybe.
Who'd you say next?
They're 28 and 23.
D-Book.
They're the 7th seed.
Oh, 28, 23.
Come on.
We'll get
bro.
there. Yeah, we'll
They've
get
been
there.
winning without Julius Randle. They're about to beat the Rockets. They're about
Julius
to
Randle's about to be out for weeks allegedly.
Thank God.
He's fucking poo poo.
He is.
Now,
Okay.
we're really in top 20 talks, but we'll get the top 10 talks into next year.
Okay.
Like he's better than dudes like
He's better than Jalen Brown.
yeah,
This guy's nuts.
I
yeah.
hate this guy.
guy's-
Like dude, yeah. Like we're there at that point.
Evan Mobley or Cade?
Cade.
Evan Mobley.
That's I've never swayed away from that.
So
Amen.
looking at Paulo's rim finishing numbers,
Oh shit.
I can't answer that.
this year Paulo's 64% at the rim, 33rd
Sounds good to
percentile.
me.
Last year 64%,
33rd percentile.
Because
27
I know.
percentile, and 62% at
Just
the rim,
dunk it.
30th percentile.
60 ish is not terrible.
60 should not be terrible in
But this
my
is
eyes.
probably
To
compared
the
him to
ear, it
forwards.
doesn't
Yeah.
sound bad.
His-
To the ear, it's
But
not bad.
sometimes there's bigs up there that just dunk the fucking
But
ball
I'm
and get
assuming
easy
this is compared
layups.
to forwards, not centers.
True.
His EFG this year is 47.6%. Last year was 49.8%, and his rookie year is 46.5%.
It's dog shit.
That sounds terrible.
I'm begging the Orlando Magic front office this offseason, 5 shooters. Figure it out. I don't know how you do
Five
it.
is diabolical.
Just get them. Get them. I don't care
I mean,
how
they
old
drafted
they are.
Jet Howard. He hasn't worked out. Gary Harris was
You know, I
billed a
think
shooter.
that we compared.
Suggs was a shooter.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say we, but I know
KCP
I
was
did.
a shooter.
I compared the Orlando situation a lot to like Boston and how they have these 2-star wings that are sending and they're young and they're really talented. I think that Orlando might actually be in the situation that we all thought Boston was in when we thought that Tatum and Brown kind of don't fit. I think Orlando might actually be in that situation for real, where Franz and Paolo really don't fit
give up on them
alongside
yet.
each other. I'm not giving up on them, but I'm just saying, like, with the Celtics,
Yeah.
we look in hindsight, yeah, everybody was wrong about that. Like, you know, they clearly fit. I think with the Magic, it might not work out the same way.
It's some dark. It's going. Listen, I'll say this about Orlando. It's going to be some dark days. Same way with Jaylen Brown and Tatum. It was some dark days in the beginning. There was some clunky moments. Orlando is going to be a little bit more challenging because I think they don't have the necessary pieces around both of those guys to help them
They're like
succeed.
cornerstone players that can't shoot.
Yeah, and that's definitely tricky. And plus, they're two completely different players than when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown got drafted.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum was kind of billed the all-around, do-it-all wing that
He was
got
always a
drafted.
great shooter.
Always, and he always had that all-around build. Jaylen Brown was the raw, athletic, two-way guy. Both of these guys weren't built that. Paolo was built like he was the forward that can handle the ball, the Carmelo hybrid type of vibe. Franz was a role player in college. He wasn't supposed to be this good. For him to even be this good kind of shifted the whole trajectory of now we have these two guys. So I think it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a process. I think Orlando fans, don't give up yet. Give it some time. Let the front office work it out. You've got something special here. Let it work its way out. Could be worse. You could have Scotty Barnes.
That's going to wrap up our NBA trade deadline talk. Let's talk about the biggest game of the NFL season, the Super Bowl, the Chiefs versus the Eagles, a rematch of 2 years ago. Riv, how are you feeling coming into this matchup?
Honestly, I just feel like this Super Bowl lacks energy. Maybe it's because
It's the trade. It's the Luka trade, bro.
Maybe
It
it's
really
because of the
is.
trade deadline of the NBA, how it's kind of took the fizzle away. I'm excited. Listen, I've been war ready since we beat, the Commanders. I've been excited, ready to go. Saquon Barkley, shout out to him. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Just won AP Offensive Player of the Year. It was never a doubt in my mind. He's been the best offensive player in football, best running back in Eagles history, best running back in NFL history in my eyes. Just one of them dudes. Had the best season in NFL history by a running back. This dude is just a special talent. Thank you, New York Giants. I'm ready. Listen, I know what Kansas City is going to bring. Do you know that Vic Fangio has actually never beat Patrick Mahomes in his life?
Like 0-7?
Yeah,
right?
he's
But
like,
that's really not an indication of how well his defenses have played against
no,
him.
that's a fact. And he has some different dogs out here right now. You got Quinyon Mitchell, you got Cooper DeJean, you got Jalen Carter, you got Nolan Smith, you got Zach Bond, CJ. You got all these dudes, Darius Slay. I think we're built a little bit different than 2022. I think our defense is so much better. I think defensively we provide a different physical nature that brings back that old Philly, that Brian Dawkins day. That's the vibe we get back right now, where we're just physical. We hit you hard. We come to play. We're together. And I think at all phases, we really do well. On the defensive line, we're great. Our linebackers are really good. Our safeties, our secondary is really good. And even when we lose a guy, you can see our depth show in. Burks came in as a linebacker because we lost Nakobe Dean for the playoffs, and he played really well last game. Milton Williams has been a elite player for us this year.
Oh, yeah.
I just think right now we're looking at this team and we're thinking the only thing that could hold it back is if the passing offense isn't on the same level. And I think what you saw from that game against the Washington Commanders, that this offense can move, this passing offense can be great. It's just, can Kellen Moore call a good game? I've been on record saying that was the best game he's called all season, just in terms of the different routes he was able to run, the different stem trees he was able to do out there, the different plays he had. Just being able to put Jalen Hurts in good positions to be successful, just being able to get Jalen Hurts on the move, getting Dallas Goedert in, getting Devontae Smith in, A.J. Brown in, and that was with Saquon Barkley not having it. He had the big run that kind of set tone for the game. Had about 100 yards. Of course, he does that in sleep. Didn't really play too much because he had a bit of a nagging injury that game. The Chiefs are a different breed than the Commanders, though. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Kelce. They have Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie. This offense and this defense has now beat the Bills, who was a team we thought would be really, really good. They beat the Texans. This team has lost one game, one singular game all season. It's unfortunate that they're going to have to lose their second game at the Super Bowl. And I do truly believe that the Eagles will win. This is a different vibe, different energy. We have Saquon Barkley. They have not met a beast like Saquon Barkley. I get it. They played Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the king. He is a different vibe. But they have never played a combination of this offensive line with a running back this talented, along with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts playing well. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning this one. You're not going to beat us twice. Kick ass, Patrick Mahomes. That three-peat is going in the mud. Dehls, let's do it, baby.
So now I know that you went on your little spiel here. I like it. But to have some organization here, what do you guys want to talk about more? Do you guys want to talk about the Chiefs offense versus the Eagles defense, or the Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense?
Shit, fuck it.
Fuck
Eagles
you.
offense.
Fuck
Talk
you.
about Jalen Hurts against Spags.
Let's talk about it, because I think that's probably what's going to be the matchup of the game.
Didn't he cook him already?
He did.
In the Super Bowl, 2 years ago.
Tried him.
Barbecue chicken.
I think last time they played, he threw an interception and took 4 sacks, though.
And they won.
They did, yeah, because MVS dropped the ball.
He's not good.
Yeah, he caught it in the AFC Championship game.
He sure fucking did.
No, I think this is the biggest matchup. I think this is the biggest matchup of the game, and I think this is what's going to dictate the game. Number one is really, how are the Chiefs going to be able to stop the run? I know what you just said about Saquon Barkley being amazing in the offensive line, but last year against the 49ers, they had the number 1 ranked rushing offense in the league, and they kind of shut down the Niners rushing offense. The year before, the Eagles had
Miles Sanders.
an elite rushing offense. The offensive line was better for the Eagles then, too. and the Chiefs found a way to shut them down. They're coming off of 2 games where they haven't been good against the run, so it's very easy to say, they won't be good against the run in this game. But they've played 18 straight games of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. So I don't know if they're going to dominate the ground like that. I think the number one priority for them is going to be ultra aggressive, and the Chiefs' run defense has really been great all year long. If they can stop the run, I feel really comfortable about the Chiefs' chances on those passing downs.
Josh Allen
won MVP? Okay, we'd have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. Let's go, baby. Yes. Let's go.
That is crazy.
I just tweeted, no.
No, isn't it crazy how he won first team All Pro and didn't win MVP? He made first team All Pro.
That happened with Brady and Rodgers, did it not?
Probably did. Because I think there's a difference, though, because All Pro is basically you had the best season, but MVP is most valuable season. So there's like the distinct difference, but we'll talk about it after we talk about this game for sure, because that's interesting. Now, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts has been really good in these areas, and I want to highlight this. Hurts leads the NFL with 9.7 yards per attempt against man coverage. The Chiefs play man coverage at the 10th highest rate in the NFL, and he's completed a league high 76.1% of his passes against disguised safety shells this year. So he's been good at that. He's been good at getting the ball out when defenses disguise their coverages. But here's where the Eagles' offense kind of scares me. The only offense that had more third down attempts this year was the Cleveland Browns. The Eagles have a poor third down avoidance. 49% of their new set of downs, they were forced into a third down, and that was against the easiest schedule of defenses this past year. So I think a team that is constantly in third down situations against one of the best third down defensive coordinators and coaches in the NFL, I think could be some trouble. Jalen Hurts, when pressured this year, 37th in EPA per attempt, 37th in success rate out of 37 quarterbacks, 33rd out of 37 quarterbacks in sack rate. And last year he ranked top 10 in those stats. So I think it's more of a scheme thing. And he's also been holding on to the ball. He has the second highest pressure rate this year with the 6th ranked offensive line in the NFL. And on zone blitzes, Spags, he's number 1 in pressure rate. He's number 2 in yards per attempts allowed. And Jalen Hurts against zone blitzes this year is 17% sack rate, which is the worst in the NFL. He's taken 10 sacks against those zone blitz looks. So I think the name of the game for the Chiefs is stopping the run and sending these exotic blitz look pressures. And Jalen Hurts handled that really well 2 years ago. But I think that the Chiefs secondary this year is better equipped to just hold up in the back end with the ascension of Trent McDuffie and with Jalen Watson now back and Justin Reed at safety. I think he's played really well in coverage this year and against the run. But that's the name of the game for the Eagles. I think the Eagles, if they can run the ball effectively and if the Chiefs are playing a lot of man coverage, they will make the Chiefs defense pay. And I think that's the name of the game right there is just, can Hurts play a repeat performance of how he played against Washington? I think that's what we're all looking forward to seeing.
So Next Gen dropped these stats. Jalen Hurts completed a league high 76% of his passes against disguised safety shells, man.
Yeah. I think that
the Chiefs do it 45% of the last 2 playoff games.
Yeah, so I think there's like a little bit of a change of philosophy in this game where the Chiefs, they're a heavy dose of man coverage team. Jalen Hurts has been excellent against that, and he's been excellent against disguised coverages, and the Chiefs run a lot of that. So it's kind of, I'm kind of wondering what Spags is going to do.
Yeah.
Is he going to leave his corners on islands? Are they going to play more zone in this game? Are they going to disguise less? Those are all things I'm looking forward to, but it all starts with stopping the run first.
Yep.
Like, they have to stop the run in Saquon Barkley.
So wait, did you say who was winning?
No, you actually
No,
didn't
I didn't
say
give
that.
my prediction yet. I'm just talking about the game. I'll give my prediction.
Here we go. Normally we just give predictions, but we're talking about Eagles offense versus Chiefs defense, then Chiefs offense versus Eagles defense. Then we're gonna give our prediction.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
Very poetic.
And listen, Riv, this is the biggest game of the year. You know what I mean? This is a Super Bowl.
I don't sweat, man.
I don't know if it's just because of the trade deadline. I don't know, but I agree with you. This does not feel like the Super Bowl is in
just
3
This
days.
is just the ending of the.
I guess
Shout
that's
out to
what
the
it is.
NBA. That makes me excited for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, this is the matchup of the game. This is the matchup of the game. It's how does Jalen Hurts look like against Spags' defense? How does the pressures that he shows, the disguises as we've mentioned, the defensive personnel that the Chiefs have, how does that all match up with Philly? Because for the majority of this season, it really does not matter who Philly has gone up against. They've been able to do whatever they want offensively, and a lot of that has been on the back of Saquon Barkley. And when you're able to run the ball that effectively, it opens up so much for your for your passing game. And even with that being said, there still has been struggles in the passing game. I think that Commanders game is a lot of momentum that the Eagles needed to go into the Super Bowl. Even though you had that week off, I think being able to go back and go and look at that film, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? The fact that your most previous game is arguably your most successful passing game of the season. I think considering the stakes that was it, the NFC Championship game, it was probably easily the most important game of the season for Philly, and specifically that passing attack. When it comes to Spags and Jalen Hurts, we saw in 2022, we talked about it in the past, they sold out against the run. They sold out to stop Miles Sanders, and because of that, Jalen Hurts had one of the best games in Super Bowl history, probably the best game in a loss in Super Bowl history, up there with Tom Brady's loss against the Philadelphia Eagles a few years prior. But he was able to really get whatever he wanted in the passing game. I mean, there was guys running wide open, but he was making plays out of structure. He was hitting tight window throws. He was throwing with anticipation. I mean, think of the deep ball to A.J. Brown. That was more than A.J. Brown, but one of the best catches you'll see in any NFL game just from a tracking perspective. But one thing that I've learned from Jalen Hurts, I've learned a lot of Jalen Hurts throughout this season. I've learned a lot of good. I've learned a lot of bad. The one thing that I've learned from Jalen Hurts over his last few years, he's a big game quarterback.
You're back.
He's a big game quarterback.
You just let him in so easy.
You let Luka go into the Lakers really turn you into a dick rider, and that really turned me off about you because you was always a man that stood on business. I didn't like that.
Guy of a team, fan of a team gets a top tier player in the world. He likes him now.
He wasn't top 3 when you got him, though. He became top 3 after.
Yo, Dehls, talk, bro. I'm listening to you.
Jalen Hurts is a big game quarterback.
Tastes amazing.
He's a big game quarterback. If we want to go back to 2022, that first couple of games in the divisional round in the NFC Championship game, he didn't do shit, but he didn't have to do shit. They were up 30 points in those games at halftime. Brock Purdy gets hurt. You played the fucking Giants. You didn't have to do anything. You went up against Kansas City Chiefs. You need Jalen Hurts to show the fuck up. He showed the fuck up. He put up 35 points going up against Spags in that defense. He did everything in his power to win that game. He left the field with the game tied. Fortunately, other side of the ball for Philadelphia just not show up. They left 38 points, and that's how they ended up losing. This season, first 2 games, although they needed him more than in 2022, he didn't have his best moments. I think specifically against the Packers, it might have been his worst game of the season. Not the Packers, the Rams. That might have been his worst game of the season. All of the sacks he took.
The Packers game, the first time was pretty bad.
Yeah, true. But given the stakes, second round, the playoffs at home, the magnitude of that game, all of the sacks he took, I cannot.
Just not giving him a pass for being perked up. Like, it really is blowing my mind.
He was fucked up before the perks. He was not playing great. But the way Jalen Hurts responded in the NFC Championship game, again, against the worst defense, I get that, in the Commanders, big game quarterback. When the pressure is on, when he's got to make a play, he has shown in the biggest moments to be able to do that. I think this Eagles offense is going to have success. I do not think as great as Spags is defensively as a defensive mind, as great as the talent the Chiefs have on defense at all 3 levels, but specifically when you have Chris Jones, when you have Karlaftis, I do not think there is anything you can do to slow down this run game. If Saquon Barkley is going to have open holes and he's going to have gaps and he could average 5 yards a carry, this passing game naturally is going to get open. And I trust Jalen Hurts in those moments to make the plays, so I do think they'll have some success there.
Yeah, if you get a gap open and it's one-on-one with Saquon Barkley and a safety or a corner or a linebacker, that's a touchdown. House call. Even the linemen know. Yep, they point. They know what it is. It's TD.
Now, the biggest difference in this game between the two teams is the gap in the run game. The Chiefs' run game is not great at all, and the Eagles' run game is the best in the league. Saquon Barkley has been otherworldly this season. Riv, you talked about it all year long. Your best prediction, Offensive Player of the Year. We just signed it up. Is 30 yards away from the best rushing season in NFL history. And against this Chiefs rush defense that over these last 2 games, I watched Joe Mixon have a revitalization to the run game and him have a pretty solid performance. But I watched James Cook arguably be the best player on Buffalo and run all over them. Now, you're getting a notch above. You've progressively you're going up against better talent. Joe Mixon to James Cook to now the cream of the crop in Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going to do whatever he wants. And if they want to really stop this run, it needs to be 2022 all over again, where they completely sell out against the run, and even still with that, it may not be enough to stop the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley. That is where the separator between these two offenses and the game plan as a whole is for me. Saquon Barkley is going to dominate this game. If the Eagles were to win this game, I think you still need Jalen Hurts to be great. There's no doubt about it. But Saquon Barkley walks out with the Super Bowl MVP. Jalen, I still think, will have a great game. I think, like Joel mentioned, he is a big-time quarterback. When you need him to make plays, he does that for the Eagles constantly. But if the game script fits a Saquon Barkley game, he is more than okay to say, here you go, Saquon, take us to the promised land. He has been one of the most unselfish players in the league, and last week when you needed him to step up, he was the best version of himself. Against the Steelers, when you need him to be the best version of himself while Saquon Barkley was down with injury, he was the best version of himself. Anytime he's been doubted, he has stepped up to the plate and hit a home run. Issue is on the opposite side. You're going up against the demon. And that demon is right now on pace to be the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. That's where it gets scary. And if we're just going to stick to talking about that Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense, I still think the Chiefs defense will make a play. Because every single Super Bowl, they make at least one play. And whether it's Chris Jones coming up the middle and getting to Brock Purdy and making him uneasy, whether it's Nick Bolton getting the fumble on Jalen Hurts and getting a touchdown, they'll always do a play. Whether it's going up against Josh Allen and stopping him on fourth down, whether it's going up against Josh Allen and getting pressure in his face, forcing him into a difficult throw, although I think Josh Allen did make a pretty great play regardless of that, the Chiefs are always due for a big play. I think that is what we're going to see here in the Super Bowl. It's going to be an unbelievable performance by both teams. I think we're in for an all-time game. I think it's going to be an all-time game. But, man, this is a different Philadelphia team. I think it's really going to be the Chiefs' toughest test to date.
I think the Eagles are phenomenal, and the run game, they've been great all year long. There's something about the Chiefs and in these moments that Spags just has the perfect game plan for. Last year, they held the Niners to 3.6 yards per carry. The year before, they held the Eagles to 2.6 yards per carry. They neutralized their run games entirely, and those were elite-level rushing offenses, and I do think that the Eagles' interior offensive line is a little bit vulnerable with the injury to Landon Dickerson, with Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton. I think Chris Jones is going to have a good matchup there. Just talk about the Chiefs' offense. I think what's been amazing this year, and you highlighted it about their run game not being good, is that they are one of the best ball control offenses in the NFL. And usually when teams control clock and they're able to dictate the pace of the game, it's because they're able to run the ball. Mahomes has the third most pass attempts in the league this year. They've been able to control clock with their quick game passing game. Mahomes has the highest percentage of short passes in the NFL this season, and it's a byproduct of how defenses have been playing him over the years. But the toughest challenge is the Eagles. They're the only defense in the league this year that has generated a negative EPA per play when they generate zero pressure on the quarterback. This is a team that's front four can get after it, but even if they don't, their back end, their secondary is so elite. And Vic Fangio doesn't take many risks. He's not going to blitz. He's not going to put his players on islands. Like, they're going to play conservative. They're going to play with quarters coverage and cover six and really shrink the field for Mahomes and force him to dink and dunk his way down the field. And if they get the Chiefs into third downs, that can be something that's very challenging for the Chiefs offense. Like, Mahomes, yes, he has beaten Vic Fangio, but that's been more so because the Broncos have been inept offensively. Their defense has always played really well against Mahomes, and it's a big reason why this game is going to be really challenging for the Chiefs offensively.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, the interior line part, just going back to that, I think our interior offensive line has gotten worse. But if you notice, Saquon, a lot of his big runs are outside to the left, on the edges, with Big Lane, Big Mulata leading the charge. Even sometimes Mekhi Becton on a little bit, not all the way to the end, but a little bit to the right. Yeah, doing his little thing, pushing somebody. I think this is a different beast, man. Like, Mahomes is really the greatest we've ever seen.
He's a scary fuck.
He's literally their passing and rushing attack.
Yeah, like, I saw him in the Bills game. If nobody's open, he just break off a 15, 20-yard run. And thank God we have like guys like Zach Bond and shit, because I'm terrified of that type of stuff.
You know what's that the equivalent of? When Draymond Green hits a three.
Dude,
When he
when
takes
hits-
off
he-
and gets a
boom!
first down,
it's like
it's
I
guaranteed.
used to say last year or 2 years ago, I'm like, bro, if Draymond hits this three, we're gonna win the game.
100%.
And 9 times out of 10, we win that game.
Yes.
You know, so it's like same effect, like where Mahomes, nobody's open, he has the tongue out, then he starts running. You're like, fuck, dude.
It's a
third
backbreaker,
and 9
bro,
turns
every
into like
time.
first down. He didn't gain 15 yards. Now you're just like, here we go again. You know, but I think, like you mentioned, we don't send pressure too much. We really rely heavily on our 4 guys we put in rotation to kind of just get at the quarterback. And they've been one of the best in the business all season. You know, they've been Jalen Carter leading the charge. You have Nolan Smith. You have Milton Williams. Like, just even the rotational guys come in and they do a fine job. So it's like, it's beautiful that you have a defensive line that can plug in 5, 6, 7 guys that can always get pressure at any moment to where your secondary and your linebackers can do their thing, stay home. And I think you mentioned it, the Chiefs, you know, they make a play. I feel like in this playoffs, our defense has been able to have been making plays. You know, they've been able to get interceptions. They've been able to get key sacks, you know, put the team in tough third downs, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13.
It's true.
But at the same time, we have not played Patrick Mahomes. That is, he's not no Jordan Love.
Come on, don't ever.
He's
Come
not,
on.
you know, Matthew Stafford is not Patrick Mahomes. You know, Jaden Daniels is not
Nobody's
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Exactly.
Matthew
like,
Stafford was
yeah, he's-
Mahomes before Mahomes. They don't talk about it enough.
No, Mahomes is a different breed. So I'm excited for the Vic Fangio versus Andy Reid contest. I really am, because like you mentioned, Vic Fangio was with your Denver Broncos.
Legend.
He was seeing Mahomes 2 times a year. So, you know, it's a bit of a little bit. It's a funny chess match where you know all your moves. It's just a different roster. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I think right now, Fangio, he has. I don't want to say we were. Because I don't remember all your teams, so I don't know if we were a better defense, but our defense is pretty fucking nasty. So I'm pretty excited about the matchup.
I'm very worried about Jalen Carter's illness.
Me too, bro. The
He'll be
fact
good.
that he hasn't been at
There's
the
a
media,
few guys I saw that have got illness like tags.
Dude,
Jalen
sick.
Carter, like, I think he has to play an A+ game for them to win.
He does.
And if he's
got
dealing
another
with an illness,
3-4 days.
No, I mean, yeah, for sure,
You
he
better
could
lock
get
the
better.
fuck in. You better throw up on
But
the field
that's
and then come
already
back
a
in.
hard interior offensive line to go up against. And I was wondering that, like, Joe Tooney, they're going to keep him at left tackle, but in this specific matchup, does it make more sense for him to slide back to guard just because of the Eagles' interior defensive line?
I don't know. Nolan has been playing excellent football. Either
He's
which
been a
way you
beast.
shake it, I think you need some presence on the outside. I know Tooney definitely had a rough go about against the Texans. I think he played a lot better against Buffalo, but regardless, you need that presence on the outside. You have to trust Trey and Creed in the middle to protect against Jalen. It's going to be a tough matchup, but Nolan Smith has been playing excellent football. So much so that when we posted our Myles Garrett trade destinations and I said Philadelphia and you trade Nolan Smith, a lot of the comments said, I don't want to trade Nolan Smith.
Yeah,
It's
they're
Myles
ridiculous.
Garrett. You have to lock the fuck
They're
in.
ridiculous, yeah.
But it speaks to how much, one, Eagles fans love Nolan, but two, us knowing football and Nolan being as impactful as he's been over these last few games, he's going to have his impact. I think you need to keep Tooney on that outside.
Yeah, and he's been awesome against the run. That was a weakness out of college. Like, is he going to be too skinny to play the run? And he's been good rushing the passer and defending the run. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I think this game is about who makes less mistakes.
Didn't even
And
break
I-
down the Chiefs' offense, man.
And
No, he did. He did.
No,
he
I
did. He
didn't.
did.
I
Oh,
my
you
bad.
didn't. You
My
didn't.
bad.
Damn, bro.
But I think
Look at the month.
Mahomes.
It's okay, bro.
I think
so
this,
they give Josh
this a
MVP.
game,
That's okay, though.
I
whoever
didn't say
makes
it
less
was.
mistakes. And I think Mahomes is going to make less mistakes than Jalen Hurts. And I don't have the utmost confidence that Hurts is going to play the best game.
I got you.
I do got
To break down the Chiefs' offense just a little bit here.
Hollywood Brown
Get
and shit.
analytical, please.
It's not a lot of analytics here. I think the two biggest things for going on for Kansas City, number one, and it's a positive, I think it's one positive and one negative, is they just avoid negative plays like no one else, right? That was their first turnover against the Bills. What was it?
It was an accident, too.
8 weeks, was it? Like sometime
It
like
had nothing to
it
do
was
with the
like
Bills.
some game in like November was the last time they had a turnover, at least lost a turnover. The ability for them to not just avoid turnovers, but Mahomes avoiding sacks, avoiding negative plays, staying ahead of the sticks. It's honestly at a point where it's prime Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady, not even his prime, I should say, like later in his career when he was just so much smarter than everyone else, where he does not have to take deep shots down the field. He will easily take the tight end that's sitting right there in his face, and he'll take 4 yards on first down, get to 2nd and 6, and we could keep this rolling. His ability, Mahomes, in this offense, just to completely stay ahead of the sticks and never get into really any 3rd and long situations. And when he does, as we mentioned before, his ability with his legs, he's obviously not Lamar and Josh Allen, but as you said, it's backbreaking when he does that, because a lot of the time it is 3rd and 10 and he drops back and he almost has that Lamar quality. He drops back and takes like 10 steps and he reads the field and then he finds the rushing lane. He's able to pick 10 to 15 yards because for whatever reason, defenses forget about his legs and they don't put a spy out there, or they're just so worried about covering Kelsey and Worthy down the field that they don't think about Mahomes. Hopefully Vic Fangio has some brighter ideas than that. But the other side, which I think is a big negative, is this rushing attack. To me, Kareem Hunt's the RB1 on this team. I think Isaiah Pacheco takes a backseat. We'll see next season, post a few months after the leg injury, if he's able to recover what he once was in terms of just having a bit more burst and speed and overall just power to his game. But having Kareem Hunt as your RB1 going up against this defense is going to be difficult. I do expect them to, pass more often on early downs to stay ahead of the sticks, because I do worry the only way you get into those 3rd and longs or 2nd and longs is if you are running on early downs and Kareem Hunt's only picking up a yard or two. He's losing a yard or two. So now you're in 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 11. That's my really only concern when it comes to this Chiefs offense, because we know how great Mahomes is. We know how great this passing game is. It's been sensational, right? Whether it's against the Buffalo Bills in the biggest moments, against the Houston Texans, even though it was a bit of an uglier game, still able to pick up yards, still able to put up points. But Riv, they're not beating them twice, bro. I got the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, man. I think this is elite level defense that...
I know with Lamar not winning this MVP, you got to grab something.
I saw a graph. It was like Mahomes and Hurts swap teams, and who wins this?
We'd beat the shit out of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
we'd beat fire out of them.
What happens if the best quarterback goes on the better team? I wonder.
No, it's like the Eagles roster is just so stacked.
We beat
it is
fire
and,
out of them,
and listen, in a couple years ago when we were having those debates when it comes to the Eagles roster and the Chiefs roster, and you were over here going crazy, I don't think that's the case this year. I think the Eagles roster is pretty comfortably better than the Chiefs. Of course, a quarterback.
I'm willing to admit that.
If you want to take away quarterback, because Mahomes changes everything.
Clicks.
He changes the entire equation. But take away quarterback, which is stupid. But in this scenario, take it away. The Eagles have basically better, damn near everything.
Chiefs
right?
just got coaching
defense,
staff
offense,
and quarterback.
But yeah, outside of like offensive mind when you have Andy Reid, but this roster is really fucking good. This defense is super elite. They've been able to bottle up basically everybody outside of like Jaden Daniels one time. The defense has been at such a high level, and offensively, I trust Saquon and I trust Jalen Hurts to be able to perform in the biggest moments. Saquon Barkley, as Riv mentioned, is having the best single season running back season of all time. He's going to break Terrell Davis's record.
He's better than
Let me ask you a question, because Drew right now is
Drew,
he doesn't know what to do.
Walk with me.
Let me ask you, Riv and Dehls.
My mind has an answer. My heart doesn't.
If Saquon plays great, if Jalen Hurts plays great, how the fuck do the Eagles lose?
If Hurts plays well, if Saquon plays well, there's no way they lose.
That means the defense would have had to fold it like never before, bro.
Pretty much. They have to play their worst game of the season.
Because it would be like when we lost in 2022, it's literally the defense folding and that one fumble that literally cost us the game. And I get it was early in the game, but
it mattered.
They scored. And they won by 3.
For Philly, this is also a much more experienced coaching staff than it was in 2022.
For sure.
With Jonathan Gannon.
Our offense is better, though. Passing
with Shane Steichen. It is. But
Vic Fangio's the
Vic
DC.
Fangio for sure, even though Kellen Moore is a downgrade in terms of Steichen, obviously has some more years under his belt. But really, Fangio's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
I've been said Vic Fangio.
He's been one of the best offensive minds forever.
Do things to him that no woman will. That's what I want to say. Like
he hasn't gotten it up in years. You gonna figure that out?
Yeah, bro. Like, oh my god, he's done wonders to this team. Is so young, and we're just so fucking good. Like, how could we decline? Like, we can't. Everybody's gonna get better. Like, nah.
After the bye week, y'all went to the moon. Everything.
You're really
about
2-2 after the bye week. That's insane.
I told y'all, man. Don't sleep.
Okay, now.
Yo, walk with me. Okay, walk with me.
Okay.
Just for a second. Walk with me.
You guys should hold hands.
I get it. You have made you're an honorable man.
Thank you.
Your word is everything to you. And as a man, your word is always everything.
100%.
You have made it a statement. You've made it a vocal point, a vow to say every week I am going to pick the Chiefs.
It's true.
And I respect the shit out of that.
Thank you.
But you didn't clarify if you would do it for the playoffs. Also, you just chose to stick to that. This is an opportunity here for you to cop out and pick the Eagles, because I know you want to. I really know you want to.
Lord knows
I get it. You didn't want to with the Bills because you're like whatever. You didn't really want to with the Texans. No ties.
Oh,
Jalen Hurts.
But this right here is
big game quarterback.
Big game
Saquon
Hurts.
Barkley.
Your guy.
Love him.
Saquon.
Love him.
Come on.
Everything about the
AJ
Eagles,
Brown.
Love him.
Walk with me. Walk with us, because Dehls is back now. This could be. We can do it again.
Here's the thing.
We did it in 2022. We can do it again.
I expected this. I knew he would pick the
He's
Eagles.
shameless.
He's shameless, but one thing I'll say, he's consistent.
Yeah, he's consistently shameless.
He's consistently shameless.
Sure, yes.
Him picking the Bills last week,
Shit killed me.
it gave me the knowledge to know he was going to pick Philly. Why? Because Philly wipes the Bills.
Yes.
The Eagles are the most talented team in football.
Yeah, we smoked.
We've been saying that since week 6, 7. We've understood that.
Ever since they beat the Ravens, we've been comfortable.
That was the turning point.
Yep.
They beat the Ravens, and that was the turning point.
Yep.
Because Saquon went out there. What are you doing here?
It's L.
Oh, yeah.
Ravens fan.
Saquon went out there and he balled against the Ravens. The Ravens' rush defense was one of the best in the league. Saquon was still amazing. The defense has been incredible. Jalen Hurts is a big game quarterback. I love that man with my heart and my soul. I believe in him. I think he's going to be excellent in this game. The issue is, that man right there he's so scary good.
The voodoo has to run up eventually.
And I want it to be this game so bad. I'm rooting for the Eagles like I was born in Philly, like my last name is tied to whatever, Lincoln Field, whatever. I don't know. I really, really want the Eagles to win this game. I just can't get my mind to say it. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs just find a way to win this game like they do every single game. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It makes me literally want to throw up at the thought of it. But the truth is the truth. They're inevitable. Every single close game that they're in, they pull out and win somehow, some way. We thought that the Bills were more talented.
17 straight one-score games they won,
nuts,
right?
yeah.
We thought that the Bills were more talented. Last year, I thought the Ravens were more talented. Year before that, I thought the Eagles were more talented. I think the Eagles are more talented this year. They are a better team. The issue is they know how to win football games. And in the Super Bowl, that's what matters. I'm taking Kansas City to win the whole thing, but Lord knows I want Philadelphia to win like my life depends on it. And I also want to clarify. I think Jalen Hurts has a good game. I think Jalen has a good game.
Does he have a great game?
I think he has a great game. I think he has
If he has a great game, how do they lose?
because he is different. He's different.
I would argue that this team Mahomes is going up against right now is the best opponent he has ever gone up against.
The Niners last year were incredible.
We were better.
The Niners
Eagles-
last year were
The
incredible.
Eagles roster's better.
We're better.
It
We're
is.
better than that last year team. We're better.
The
I don't
49ers,
know, maybe.
they don't have the offensive line.
Our
that the
receivers
Eagles
better.
have.
Our
Yeah.
running back's better.
They are.
Our quarterback's better.
The secondary's
Yes.
better.
Our secondary's better.
Much.
Defensive line, they probably got it, but I'd argue we
But
have some
honestly,
good-
no. Nick
Our
Bosa
depth-
was the only edge rusher
Yeah,
there.
our depth is
They
insane.
didn't have the same interior.
Their
threats this
linebackers, they
season.
probably got it. You
Well,
can
they
get Fred
had Fred.
Warner in the
And
edge.
Dre Greenlaw got injured in the second half, which
Yeah,
killed
but I think
him.
our roster, top to bottom, better.
Charvarius Ward, you have to respect what he did for them last season. Hufanga was injured last year, correct?
Yeah.
That was a bummer. Regardless, it doesn't matter. If they're going up against a more talented team, I'd see this man pull it out almost every single time.
Actually, I don't know if Hufanga was injured, but
Was he injured this year?
Was it this year he was injured?
was
That's
this
on
year,
me.
this year.
So Hufanga was all pro level. He was
He's
that
not
the
great.
Eagles roster is better though. It is than the Niners.
They had a
last
super
year.
team too, though. They
No,
had
the
a super
was
team
OD,
also.
and
Like,
Shanahan,
Yeah.
who's the best offensive mind, one of the best offensive minds in football as well. Didn't matter.
Listen,
and was
man, they
double
were-
digits in that game too, and they found a way to come back.
They were
and
a
win.
corner blitz away. That's all they were. Corner blitz away.
I have no doubt that he's going to excel. I have no doubt. My thing is, I have no doubt that he's going to show up.
I've never seen, like, they locked up CMC. They locked up the year before our potent off. This year, I haven't seen anybody stop it. Like, offensive line, you know exactly what we're about to do. We're going to walk up to this line. You know who's getting the ball. You know what we're about to do. And you just simply cannot stop it. I'm talking about at every level. At the start, when he gets through the hole, and then you have guys in front of him, you can't stop him in open
So there
space.
has to be something that you think is going to go wrong for the Eagles. Their defense
It has to be
is
the
bad.
defense.
I said the Kansas City Chiefs defense will make a big play.
So it'll be a
Turnover.
close
So-
game.
Whether it's a stop, whether it's a turnover,
Yeah.
somehow, some
So
way.
you think the Eagles defense plays great too?
I think so.
You think looking like
Yeah,
a
I think
24,
score
23
predictions?
game?
That's
I
what
think
was gonna
I think
say.
it's going to be an amazing game. I'm going 27-24 Kansas City.
Seems like a solid game to me.
That means we're getting a great defensive game. We're going to get some touchdowns, which is what I see.
Yep.
Philadelphia's defense is too good to just let the Chiefs look like they did against Buffalo. That's not going to happen. But Mahomes is going to still get his, regardless how you shake it. That Houston Texans defense is no slouch. It's not Philadelphia, but it's still damn good. An amazing pass rush. You have great players in that secondary, and they were still able to go put up points. I see the same situation here against Philadelphia, except it's a bigger situation, and you know he's going to show up.
I got 26-21. I got the Chiefs.
I think that's around the ballpark of where we all have.
26. How do they get
Field
there?
goals.
Okay.
Some weird shit.
Yeah, I got 30-21.
30-21.
I love that.
Okay.
If it's 30-21, I geek.
That
oh my
isn't
God,
that wasn't
I'm
the
so
score of
fucking
Bills Chiefs in
happy.
the regular season? 30-21? Because it wasn't a one-score
They
game.
did win by 9. That's true.
Yeah, it might have been that. Yeah.
30-21. Because you can't beat the Chiefs by one score.
Nah,
But you
let
also
it get. Bro, first of all, I've seen Kirk Cousins run us down the field when it's one score.
Yeah.
I'm scared of everybody. When we one score, our defense just turns in the
Except for Matthew Stafford.
I was
Shit,
gonna
he
say,
almost did it.
It was
He almost did it.
one drive.
Thank
He
God.
almost lost to Matthew Stafford in the Rams.
Jalen Carter, thank you so fucking much because if
Hurts
he
was
didn't do
awful.
that,
He was
game of the
perked
season.
up.
watch. I seen Jaden Daniels after an interception and a drop pass.
Like if Hurts was
drive
great
down.
that game, they probably smoked the Rams.
for sure.
He was hurt.
They
What
might
we
win
did
by
do.
3 touchdowns.
Threes
If
being
AJ
nice.
Brown's not a bum, I'm tired of him getting this pass.
We beat them by 30 in the regular
AJ
season.
Jalen gets no pass, but AJ being a bum gets
Receivers were hurt,
all
no?
this pass.
No, I think Puka played.
What against who?
When we
regular
played them in the
season?
regular season. Yeah, Puka played. Saquon just had 220.
Oh yeah, no,
Saquon
they
was
dominated.
The receivers were. I thought Puka was hurt.
No.
No, it just was Coop out.
So over under 2.5 controversial calls in this game.
over.
They're gonna call. They're gonna fucking look at 15 calls and be like, "That's bullshit. It should have been 1 yard further up."
Think about it. When Bradbury clearly held that, we were talking about
He's
it.
so bad. I'm glad he's not playing.
Last year, I don't think it was anything crazy. Off the top of my noggin, no.
No, I think the referee thing has really sparked up this year. It really hasn't been a thing last year. Or the year
No, it's
before.
been a thing for a while with the Chiefs. Shout out to Mile High Mims, actually. He has this entire thread dedicated solely, it's his pin tweet, solely to blessings for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's dedication, right there. But no, I really think this year has been loud though.
Yeah.
Like last year it wasn't a thing. Like nobody after every playoff game, nobody was talking about the refs with the Chiefs. This year it's been after the Texans game, after the Bills game. Like that's been
Bills
the main
game
talk. That's been one of
especially.
the main talking points. So the last thing we'll talk about on this show, NFL honors. You had Saquon Barkley win Offensive Player of the Year. You had
Jaden won.
Passer Tan Defensive Player of the Year.
He won, but he
Jaden
swept
Daniels
the thing,
Offensive Rookie of the
damn
Year. Jared Verse Defense Rookie of the Year. You had Joe Burrow win Comeback Player of the Year. You had Kevin O'Connell win Coach of the Year. And the controversial one here is that Josh Allen, not Lamar Jackson, won NFL MVP after Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro and Josh Allen was second team All-Pro. Do you think Lamar Jackson was robbed?
This is a you conversation. I'm bummed about it, though. I wanted to see Lamar
This
win.
reminds me of when Mark Gasol was on second team defense, but won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, if you're gonna win the MVP, put him on the first team. And I think both guys deserve it. And I get football is different. You can't put two quarterbacks on the first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro. But you made Lamar first team All-Pro, which I think both guys deserved it. And then you made Josh second team. So it kind of made people think, well, all right, Lamar's probably going to win the MVP. Then there was this app on Twitter that jumped from
Polymarket,
49%
yeah.
to like 94. Josh is going to win it like 30 minutes before he got announced.
Wow.
I think people are going to say he got a Joel Embiid MVP award. He got robbed.
Who cares?
Yeah,
He's
that's,
MVP.
yeah, that's fine. And at
Oh
the
my
same
God, are you
time,
kidding me? That's going to be at his crib.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
who
we're lit. Like
cares?
us,
And
Allen
I'm
fans,
glad
we're-
that he has
we're
an
lit.
accolade to
Yeah, we're
showcase his greatness.
You know what's fucking funny? I can finally stop hearing how the guys in
has
the
nothing.
Big
He
Four
has
have
zero
everything and he has nothing.
It's a fact.
Now we can really talk about
Joe
who has
Burrow
nothing.
next, baby.
Joe Burrow has nothing.
Oh,
Like now we can really
wow.
talk
Here
about
he
who the fuck
goes.
has nothing. Because a Super Bowl appearance is not an individual accomplishment. That is the team Khris.
He has two comeback player of the year.
We don't give a fuck
Oh
about
my
that.
God.
That is,
Why
you
don't you
bring
care
that
about that?
award home to the crib, to the building, the stadium. That's not an award for individuals. Now, Lamar has two. Shout out to Lamar. Mahomes has everything. Shout out to Mahomes. And now my brother in Christ, Josh Allen, walks in there. He has an MVP. Herbert don't got shit. Joe Burrow don't got shit. I'm good in the hood. I ain't got to worry about nothing.
You know who's next?
Who?
Jaden
CJ
Daniels.
Stroud? Oh. Okay.
I don't think Jalen Hurts. I don't think Lamar Jackson got hoed or whatever.
I think so.
You could say this is the
I
month to say.
personally think so.
This is the month to say.
Nah, I don't listen. When we first had these debates, like months ago, right before like Lamar, like those last 3-4 games played the Steelers and like Houston and all that. I was basically saying, like I think both these guys deserve it. Josh Allen, some of the numbers he's been putting up are crazy. I mean, the most historical offense was like top 3 historical in terms of like points per drive. The Bills were sensational. So were the Ravens. I am way more passionate about Josh Allen's performance against the Chiefs and Lamar's performance against the Bills than him against his MVP, because both these guys in the regular season were so dominant week in and week out. We're just putting up fucking Madden numbers. The offenses were putting up fucking insane numbers. They both had big time wins. Of course, Josh beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the only loss of the season, or I guess the only loss that matters outside the Week 18 game. So I'm fine with it. Josh is, to me, top 3 quarterback in the world. At some point, he was going to get this MVP. Lamar's going to get another one. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to win with 2. I know at some point he's going to get at least one more.
back to back, bro.
So now it's 2 MVPs for Lamar, right?
2 MVP
Just 2, yeah.
and 1 for Josh.
Okay.
But no, shout out to Josh. I mean, he was
Mahomes
sensational.
has 2.
He has 2.
Yeah, he does
Okay.
have 2.
Yeah, you couldn't have Lamar have more than Mahomes.
Stop riding.
You just, and I mean, it's just
As long as that
inexcusable.
one guy don't got one.
It's just, you can't have
I mean,
the.
Peyton's not better than Brady. Peyton has 2 more than Brady.
He deserves all of them.
I
You're
know
right.
he does, but I'm just saying it doesn't matter.
No, he's a demon. in the
Regular season is regular season. I'll say this: I'm upset for Lamar Jackson. I think Josh was excellent, no doubt about it. I think that he was deserving. He put together an MVP type season for sure. I just think Lamar Jackson was a flawless quarterback this year. This is a regular season award. This isn't a postseason included as well. In the regular season, Lamar Jackson was flawless. One of the most efficient quarterback seasons I've ever seen in my life. The fact that he was as incredible as he was as a rusher, we know that he does that, but it was his most efficient season as a passer. Threw for over 4,000 yards, threw for over 40 touchdowns. He was perfect this year. I think that it's a crime that he didn't win, but I understand Josh Allen was great. Again, an excellent season. But I think the MVP should have gone to Lamar Jackson, no doubt. And why would you give him first team All-Pro? Why would you give him first team All-Pro and him not win MVP? Because also, that is bullshit. How many bets were put on Lamar Jackson to win MVP?
Money. Cost people money.
You cost people thousands and thousands of dollars. To those that were bold enough to put money on Josh Allen weeks ago, even still after Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro. 1, I respect you. Congratulations on your win. But 2, that is nonsense. How have we ever seen that in NFL history?
I think it's happened like twice.
I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago when he was named first team All-Pro that I don't think just because he's named first team All-Pro he's going to win MVP, because I think there's a distinct difference between being statistically the best quarterback in the league and being the most valuable. And I think Lamar Jackson, he was statistically the best quarterback in the NFL this year. But then you take into account the storylines. None of us thought the Ravens were going to be worse this year. We all thought they would be better. We all thought the addition of Derrick Henry was going to make this offense unstoppable, and it did. There were question marks around the Bills with the veterans they lost. With losing Stephon Diggs, there were question marks about how good the Bills' offense was going to be, and they were better. They were a historically great offense, and Josh Allen, for as great as Lamar Jackson was, he had a historic season. So did Josh Allen. He had 40-plus touchdowns. He had less negative plays than Lamar Jackson on the year as a whole. So I think that when you take into account the expectations coming into the season, the Bills winning their division and having more wins than the Ravens, I think it's warranted why he did win MVP. But I thought Lamar Jackson just was better statistically. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick Aside Podcast, episode 455. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.